here we are, new year, and a new season of the podcast. That's crazy.
New year, new us.
Yeah. Well, new style. This is brand new. Hey, we got some people in the chat. Hello, Death Drew, Prime Gaming, and Jade. Hello to all of you beautiful people.
Everybody, hello.
So we're trying out a brand new setup, so please bear with us just a wee little bit this podcast. And we got 2 mics, so that's an improvement on its own.
We just run one of these.
I'd love to bump up to 3 at some point here soon, but let's figure out 2 first.
Yeah. Gotta figure out the audio for 2 first is the main thing.
Yeah, we got Luke. He'll be monitoring audio this stream. If you guys notice anything funky with visuals or audio, just type it out in chat, and we'll stop what we're doing to hear you out on that.
Type in Luke, you dumb fuck, work on the audio problems.
Yeah, Luke, you dumb fuck.
Yes.
Hashtag Luke, you dumb fuck.
I mean, it's true. So, anyways.
And wouldn't be Nick without the Mountain Dew. Please sponsor us. I pay you guys enough anyways. It would be bouncing out. Okay.
Hey Nick, it's new year, new resolutions, yet you haven't changed.
Yep.
Not even once.
Yeah, that would be a great resolution. Because you could imagine that one person, like, they get to their prime and their New Year's resolution is just maintain.
Yeah, just like maintain the success.
Yeah.
Please, dear God.
Okay. I'm new here. My first podcast. Hey, well, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
New friend.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
Stay a while and listen.
Yeah, it's been about a month and a half since we've done a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And this is a brand new season, so perfect place to start. Did you plan that out, Jade? Like, that's fantastic. But yeah, so brand new style, and this podcast is special. This is the 3rd year we'll be doing this, and it is the best and worst list. So we'll be going over the best movies of 2017, the worst movies of 2017, the wishlist movies, which means movies that we wish we had gone to see but didn't get around to it for whatever reason, and anticipated for 2018. So that's movies, and we're doing the same for gaming. In fact, we're going to be starting with gaming. Yeah. But we're also going to be here to talk to you guys a little bit. And normally on these podcasts we'll be doing Loot Crate, but I opened both of the loot crates we had on the last episode of Winning Minecraft. So if you've not seen that live stream, go check it out. But yeah, this is my first podcast to Prime Gaming. Well, welcome! We are so glad to hear that.
So many new people.
Yeah, and new people are great. I love new people.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
New people are also scary because you don't know them.
Well, hopefully, I just always hope that new people have lower expectations. Oops, sorry, bumped the mic. Lower expectations than the people who have seen our shit for so long.
Good point. I mean, I guess people who have seen it is like, damn, they have a new style, and then they'll be like, man, it still looks shitty.
Yeah.
Something like that. But you're new, so you don't know. You don't know.
But we have about 29 other episodes that you guys can go and watch, so go check that out. In fact, did that say 31 in the title?
Yes, it does.
Oopsie, 30. Let me go fix that quickly, and then we'll get started with our list. So the first thing we're going to be doing is going over the worst, right? Worst gaming?
Yeah.
So worst in gaming for 2017. Now, gaming this year, well, this year was a really weird year for gaming. We had a lot of great stuff and not so great stuff. But I'm just hoping that 2018 is going to be a great year for gaming. Because okay, we didn't add this as a category, but the world of 2017, that's going to be the next podcast. It's going to be us talking about all that stuff and catching up with all the news we missed because we didn't miss quite a bit.
Kind of a 2017 in review sort of thing.
Yeah, and then the few things that have happened 2018.
Yeah, already.
God damn, what a year.
We're
what, 6 days into it, not even a week?
Not even a week.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, you like the Minecraft Transformers series? Well, thank you. A lot of people do. That is our most popular show by far, but...
That's where the money comes from.
I don't know about you guys. I got my list on my phone.
Mine too.
I don't have a list because I have only played 1 game this year.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's in the worst category.
Well, that's where we're starting.
Okay.
So, yeah. Good
I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to delete my 4th one because it's not really that bad. So I got 3 games on my worst list. So we'll just go around this direction, this kind of a thing. But my number 3 worst game of the year is Friday the 13th.
Oh.
So the reason for that, well, there's many reasons for that, but the first one being that it was a blatant ripoff of Dead by Daylight.
Oh, really? I haven't seen footage of it, so I didn't know like how it
Yes,
actually
Dead by
looks.
Daylight is the good version of that game.
Oh, okay.
And Friday the 13th is basically the same exact game, only in Dead by Daylight there are multiple monsters, and in Friday the 13th there's just the one.
Yeah.
And Friday the 13th is buggy as hell.
Oh, really? Like,
Yes. Oh my god. I've seen gameplay from so many people. And not just buggy, it's also very one-sided.
Oh, like the
Jason
gameplay?
wins 90% of the time.
Hmm.
And
That's not
if
fun.
he doesn't, odds are Jason was screwing around. Which, with that said, Dead by Daylight, they design their monsters to be OP and release them that way, but then they nerf it after seeing how people play as that monster, which is smart.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, he's just OP. We're just gonna let it slide. He's good.
It was just kind of like they released it and never touched it again to try to improve it. They're like, that's the game.
Yeah, and
Bye.
there's a weird system of unlocking Jason skins. Is there a way of saying, we have more than one monster? Look, there's Jason X, there's Jason from the original movie, there's Jason from the second movie.
I'm Jason, you're Jason,
We're all
Jason.
I think the only good thing to come of that is the different death animations for when Jason kills people.
Those are really good.
Yeah, I think that's the only good thing to come out of that game.
Ah, that's disappointing.
So, Dylan, what do you have on your list?
Well, now that I thought about it, I actually have two things, but at number one, I have Getting Over It, and all I'm going to say is I'm not even going to talk about it. If you haven't seen it, go watch a video on it, and
Oh my
you'll
God,
understand
yes.
why it's on the worst list.
It's like a down
It's a rage
spiral.
game, and
Mhm.
that's all I have to say.
For me, I have my relationship with Getting Over It is I absolutely love it, but never in a million years will anyone convince me to play it. Not even, no. There's not a goddamn chance that will happen. Unless this video gets 1,000 likes! No.
Do it for the Vine.
I don't know. Maybe we could do it for a charity stream or something. But never of, like, my own choice of, that would be a fun video. Will I play it?
Yeah.
It's a game that's made Markiplier and PewDiePie cry.
Yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah. Like, Markiplier, he broke 2 mice. Is it mouses or mice?
I think it was mice and a chair. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, like, terminology. Is it mice?
Yeah, I think
or
it's
is
mice.
it mouses?
I think it's mice.
Mice? Okay. He broke 2 mice and a chair playing that game. And PewDiePie literally at the end of the series said, yeah, I almost gave up on recording these videos way back. Because he legit didn't think he was good enough to do it.
Yeah, it's like it didn't seem possible.
Yeah, Jericho, I watched his series, and he's been one of the only people I saw who, after the game, was like, yeah, I love that game. It was a great game.
Yeah.
With that said, it's for maniacs, so...
It seems like a game, like, specifically designed for, like, sadists or psychopaths who are just like, yeah, this is the thing I get into. Because, like, every single, like, every single movement feels like a possible falling down into despair.
Yeah. Because you could be at literally the last jump and manage to get to the beginning of the game.
Oh, yeah, because
That freaking snake.
the fucking goddamn snake.
Because you can pogo off that top bar, down to the snake, and hello, you're back at the beginning of the game.
It's
Because,
a metaphor.
let's not ruin,
No,
the
yeah,
beauty of
let's
that
just-
game. Luke, what do you have on your list?
My list consisting of one game is Life is Strange Before the Storm. Now, thing is, I know a lot of people really like this game. Well, at least the first one, and I've played that too, and I didn't like that one either. But I had someone I knew who was like, "Oh boy, this is you know what? It's a good one. It's actually good." And I was like, "You know what? I'll take the benefit of the doubt this time. I'll try it." And I was like, "God damn, it's even worse." And like, the thing about like those kinds of games is I sort of wonder, like with the story-based games, if it wasn't a game and it was like made as like a story film or whatever, would people still like it as much? Like the way the characters are written and all that sort of thing. Mainly because you can kind of determine what the character is like, but just sometimes there's also moments where it's like, no, you have to do this because the story says so. And just like every single character is unlikable. It feels like sort of a person who doesn't know aspects about like college students or like those kinds of people of that generation. It's like what do people of that age say? They say hella to each other, right? And it's like
hella, yeah.
Genius. And then yeah. Also, by the way, if you go into the settings and if you want to like change the audio settings, there's like low, medium, high, and if you go up one more, it's hella high. And I wanted to just deinstall the game.
I'd only play that mode. You reverse marketed that for me. I want to play that game now. That sounds amazing. I could totally turn that into such a fun let's play.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Basically, like
I'd make so many weed jokes.
God damn it.
Oh my god, that game would be great for me.
But,
oh my god.
But it's essentially like if you've played any of the Telltale games like Walking Dead or Wolf Among Us. It's like that, except you're a college student with supernatural powers. Also, you're a complete asshole, so why am I playing as you? But yeah, that was the only game I played this year. Sorry to be kind of a disappointment. But hey, so was the game.
Dylan, you have an interesting past with those games, right?
What?
The Life is Strange games. What are your thoughts on what Luke's saying?
I mean, I haven't played Before the Storm yet, but I like the original one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was something different. I mean, I played other Telltale games, so it was something completely different, so I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. So,
yeah, and I've seen a Let's Play of the first game, literally when it came out, so my recollection of that game is like...
kind of hazy.
So, yeah, I remember little snippets here and there. But before we go on to the next Between Me and Dylan worst games, got some chat stuff going on. When is Transcrafter Season 3 coming out? That's a question I get all the time. And these guys will know because we had a work day yesterday. I am working on it. It's an insanely long process, but I try and spend at least 2 to 3 hours every day working on it in terms of building and the in Minecraft stuff. And I've spent... I don't know, I'd say over 10 hours already on just building stuff, and it's there's a lot more work I have to do on it. But don't worry, as soon as I can get it out, I will get it out. No deadline or no release date at this time, but I will keep you guys updated on that. Next, let's see. Excuse me. I love Transformers, so I would I also found your channel by running across Minecraft Transformers series as well.
Most
hello, and funny story, we're actually the first or one of the first Minecraft Transformers things ever, which is why Transformers 4 Minecraft blew up.
Yeah, like that one got like a shitload of views.
Yeah, that was before the Transformers mod came out. That was before anything Transformers related other than builds were in Minecraft. The only thing that was out then was the, like, when you just using blocks build, like, here are the 100 block tall Optimus Prime.
Yeah, it's like...
Ta-da! Like, there are no role plays or...
Yeah, like character mods or something like that.
That was actually right when role playing in Minecraft just kind of became a thing.
Yeah.
Was when I did that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, wow. It's weird pioneering anything, so...
You're a pioneer, Nick.
Yeah! Anyway, let's see, what else is there? Have you guys played Hello Neighbor? I've never seen anything for it. It's one of those games that I've always, like, seen YouTubers play, and I'm like, I should watch that, but never have.
I've seen a little bit of it. I've seen both, like, some of the actual game and a couple of, like, people playing, like, shitty iPhone ripoffs of it, which were surprisingly kind of terrifying, the iPhone ripoffs.
3 out of 10 on GameSpot. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's kind of, like...
The trailer looked really cool, but then I didn't hear much aside from the YouTubers who were playing it.
Yeah. But I've seen stuff for it. I don't really have much interest.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, the cool thing about that game is it kind of learns how you play and adapts.
Yeah, from what I've been told.
That is awesome, by the way. But no, I've not played it, and no, I've not really seen it. So, sorry, my bad.
Whoops.
So, next on my worst games list is Mass Effect. I've never learned how to say Andromeda. Which, I've never been one to get into the Mass Effect games. 3 was the only one that I was like, wow, that's really cool. This one, it felt like a cash grab to me. It felt like it was the Halo ODST of the Mass Effect franchise.
It was like it was basically the previous game, just basically reskinned. It wasn't anything
reskinned
different.
with bad facial animations.
And I couldn't get into the story, and just like, I think the multiplayer was the only part of that game I was like, oh, it's not horrible. Everything else I was like, well, that's no, not a fan.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty I've heard both people say bad, and also someone was like, it was fine, but not
never anything that's amazing,
or not even like ones that are just like, this is the worst thing to ever exist, or just awful. It's more just it's kind of
it's a disappointment.
It's kind of generic, it feels, in terms of Mass Effect story.
Yes, definitely. It's the Mass Effects that if you play it, I don't feel like you regret playing it. It's just it's almost more like the disappointment, because all the other Mass Effects, as someone who's not a fan, I still think story-wise is where they really shine, and it's awesome. And then you got all these other games that are hitting these high markers, and then Andromeda's like, hello guys, we're right here, hi. So where it's not in the bad category, but it's nothing like the others.
It's Diet Mass Effect.
Yes. Can we? Yes. Okay. That is Diet Mass Effect. Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, Dylan, what's next on your list?
The last game I have on my worst game, or it's not on it, but I want to put it on there, is PUBG for the Xbox.
Okay, for the Xbox.
For the Xbox, not the game itself. I like I like Battle Royale style games, which we'll talk about that later. But the issues that it has had on its Xbox launch, it came out almost over a month ago now, or pretty close to a month ago, and it's still experiencing lag issues, and you can't. It's almost unplayable. Rubber band so much.
I'd say in a lot of situations it is unplayable.
It is I'll try and watch it, and it's even hard for me to just watch.
Yeah, it's probably one of the weakest excuses of a port ever. It was a cash grab, and
it's one of those things where I was kind of excited, and I didn't buy it, but I'm glad I didn't. But it's one of those things where if it can straighten out the server and lag issues, then it might be. It's one of the best-selling games ever.
But personally, I feel that is because of that mouse and keyboard thing. When you get to a controller, you got way less buttons to work with, and then you got to figure out convenience on a controller versus convenience on a keyboard.
Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, keyboard and mouse definitely makes it way easier. But I'm just saying once it's playable from an aspect of it not lagging and not you rubber banding, I think it has potential.
Okay. Chase Gaming, hello, how you doing? We're wrapping up the worst games of the year list, so let me go with my last worst game, and this one is one that really hits home because a lot of personal reasons. That's being EA's Battlefront 2.
Oh boy.
So, funny story, the original Battlefront 2 was the first video game I ever played. And it really hurts, because it's one of those classic games for me, from my childhood. And I was giving the game benefit of the doubt. The first gameplay trailer looked awesome.
Yeah.
Looked great, but I didn't pre-order it because I was remembering the first game, which, again, I bought the first game, I bought the deluxe edition. The $70 version.
Yeah, that one that's...
And, even that game was fairly unbalanced. The deluxe edition, it comes with a gun that is the most OP gun in the game.
Yeah.
And you get it for paying the extra $10, whereas anyone else would have to work their way up to get, to their higher tier levels to unlock that gun.
Gee,
I was given that as a start.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, when that game came out, I went, wow, this gun's really cool. Oh, okay, that's a little unfair. Oh well.
Yeah.
It didn't quite bother me as much, but it still annoyed me that, I was just kind of being handed it, here you go, you're gonna need this. Granted, I probably do need it, because my aim's garbage, and it's a single-shot weapon, so it kind of bounced itself out.
Maybe.
But it was one of those guns, I could shoot anywhere on their body, and they're basically dead.
Oh, so it was like a one hit.
Yeah, 1 to like 2 hit pistol. But anyway, so then you get to Battlefront 2. And I blame DICE a little bit, but I think this mainly falls on EA with the in-game purchases.
Oh boy.
I'm a believer in in-game purchases being aesthetic-based. And this game was anything but that. I've also seen, Marco, who he doesn't work for the channel, but he works for J4U Studios, the production company as a whole.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me about the campaign of the game, because he played it all in, like, he was saying something like the entire campaign 4 hours.
Wow, that's pretty
And he
bad.
said it's one of the worst campaigns he's ever played.
Yikes.
Because the story was god-awful. Because what even I expected it to be was a story where you're playing as the Empire and seeing how they went from the Battle of Endor to the First Order, which is an amazing story. But apparently that was not it remotely.
Oh, so not even close.
It was about how Battle of Endor led into Darth Sidious's backup plan and had nothing really to do with the First Order.
Is it so? It wouldn't even really be canon to the franchise.
Not really, no.
It's just like, here's this thing that happened, but not really of much importance.
And granted, the first game didn't have a campaign, so at least you're getting something. But the first game was also $60 and should have been $30.
Yeah.
So it feels like the campaign, while it was there, was 100% an afterthought.
Yeah, it wasn't the main focus.
And I could talk about the problems with EA's Battlefront 2 for way too long, but that's my main problem. And the fact that, like, how can you mess up such an easy classic game?
Yeah.
I feel if they just remastered the first Battlefront 2, that would have been a million times better than this remake they gave us.
Is it kind of like with the Spider-Man video games, almost? It's like, the second game was the best one, and each time to try to match that level of quality seems to just fall down the hill.
Yeah, there's a point where it's better just to... I think Call of Duty's learned this. You don't have to keep adding in all these crazy things to blow the gamer's mind, because they love it for a certain thing.
Yeah.
So when you start changing it, those aspects that they like start to go away.
Yeah.
And I feel it would have been a million times better if EA looked at that when they were making this game.
Yeah.
So, now moving on to the Wishlist Games of 2017. So those are games that we all wish that we had bought, but for one reason or another, due to not owning the right console or not being willing to spend the right money at the right time, we didn't end up getting. So, I guess I'll start on that one. And where is my Wishlist Games? Here it is. So, I have a couple here. And, the one I'm going to talk about first is Resident Evil Biohazard. I've been an okay fan of Resident Evil. It's not one of those games that I've ever gone out and really were like, wow, I need to buy this new Resident Evil game.
Yeah, yeah.
The only one I have played is 4,
Yeah.
which luckily is the one to play.
Yeah, it is definitely the one to play.
But then this game came out, and I don't even know how many Let's Plays I've watched in it. It's a phenomenal game. It's a great horror game. B, it takes the Resident Evil games back to their roots more, but at the same time gives it a new life.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the Resident Evil games after 4 became more of an action shooter and lost that kind of horror aspect.
Yeah.
So this game brought back that horror aspect while keeping some of the action things, but made it to fit modern audiences with the change from third person to first person, and these really kind of creepy creatures, and the storyline of it was fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
So if they make a Resident Evil 8, I will definitely buy that as soon as it comes out, and I might even go back and buy Resident Evil 7 for Freaky Friday.
Yeah, that'd be cool, actually.
Yeah. So, Dylan?
The first one I'll talk about is Breath of the Wild.
Really brought Nintendo back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Switch in general,
Mm-hmm.
the Switch, if you haven't heard, became the best-selling console in United States history, so...
Ooh. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good,
Yeah.
and they don't got a bad choice of games either, and
Not now.
And Breath of the Wild is one of those games that, I mean, it's up for so many game show awards, it's up for Game of the Year, it's up for everything at this point. And it just, there's a lot of playability from what I've seen.
Oh yeah.
And what they were able to pack into it, into the cartridge itself, is absolutely phenomenal. And I wish I would have had a Switch.
Yes.
I feel you.
And I'm gonna tag on to that just because it's also on my list, because it's really, I feel, returned Nintendo more to its roots, whereas the Wii U was kind of a misstep.
It was an awkward stepping stone.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
The Wii U, like, it had the Switch concept to it, but it didn't have the portability.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Switch combined the Wii U and the DS into one.
It was almost like they're disappointed with Wii sales, so they're like, you know what?
DS
Wii
is
U.
doing good.
Yeah, we'll just pack the DS into the Wii and new console.
Yeah.
Whereas the Switch is a very innovative thing that I think was the best move Nintendo could have made. So I'm glad that it's gotten that title that it has now.
And I think that it's starting to it's at the competing point with Microsoft and Sony now.
And Breath of the Wild, I think, was a great return to Zelda.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games they probably could have made that would have sucked within Zelda, and I think this was a great way to say, hey, we know Zelda's been gone for a while, so we're gonna really try on this one.
And I mean, Nintendo made some interesting choices by making some games like that they did for the Switch, but overall, they're in the right direction.
Yeah.
And you can kind of ignore the
awkward
the bad games that they did release.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any games on what you wish you could have bought?
Yeah, actually, I've got like a full 5.
Oh, awesome.
I'm going to start off with number 5, which is basically my least wish list, but still interested in some way. Because it didn't get the greatest reviews. In fact, there was a good number of them that kind of said it wasn't anything great, but Yooka-Laylee.
Oh.
Because 3D platformers are probably my favorite genre of games, and nowadays they're just kind of dead. Besides, like, Mario and other things, but I was interested because, like, heard it was from the company that did Rare, which did a whole bunch of, like, older games from, like, the N64 era, and it looks really fun, and I just kind of like the style and look and like some of the music stuff that they have going on in it. It just looks like it'd be fun as a 3D platformer, even though most people said it's kind of janky in a lot of areas and some control aspects, but you know what?
You've played worse on this channel.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't have it on one that I wish, because I'm not a huge 3D platformer, but yeah, that totally makes sense for you. That's right up your alley.
Yeah.
Alright, so next on my list, and this is really the last game on the list, because a lot of the games that I wanted, I ended up buying, or living vicariously through Let's Players, but this is the one that I legitimately came this close to buying on several occasions, and it was more of a financial reason why I didn't, but I do regret it not buying it, because I would have loved this game, and that is For Honor.
Ooh.
So, For Honor, for those of you who don't know, is a who makes the Assassin's Creed game? It's Ubisoft. Yeah, it's an Ubisoft game, and basically, it's the most badass concept ever of samurai versus Vikings versus knights. So you're on one of those three sides, and it's basically a PvP type situation with the most. It was an extremely unique fighting style, similar to what Assassin's Creed Origins did, but with even more strategy, to where you have to say, me and this other person are having a 1v1. You have to decide which side you're going to hold your sword on your right, on your left, or up. Then say it's on your right, you can then attack on your right, or block with your right.
Yeah.
So it's like the ultimate rock, paper, scissors of video game fighting.
Yeah.
And I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, the cinematic rock, paper, scissors.
Knowing me, I'd be awful at it. But it's one of those games that I would learn how to play and try and get good at.
Yeah.
Because, like, damn, that's such a cool fighting game.
Yeah.
And how can a game about Vikings versus samurai versus knights not be badass?
True, that's a good point. Yeah.
So, Dylan?
I'm just gonna knock out both of these really quick because so the other one going back to Nintendo and everything that they did well is Mario Odyssey because Mario again takes Nintendo back to its roots, and the playability within in Mario Odyssey is phenomenal, and you have literally hours and hours of. I mean, it's a great pastime basically, and they're continually adding things to it. So even when you beat the game, it's not really beaten because they're just gonna add more to it.
Well, that and the fact that I haven't seen people who play it, but I have talked to people and heard people talking about it, and there are people who have beat the game and have like 200 to 300 stars, but then they're like, yeah, but then I gotta go around and find the last.
But then you have to go back
stars,
to them,
and it's like. Once you're technically done, you are far from done.
Yeah,
you could still
it's never
have
done.
10 or more hours in that game.
And there's enough side missions where this main storyline isn't everything that's there, so there's more to do than just that.
Yeah, and before I continue, Nintendo, when are we getting another Donkey Kong game?
True, yeah, that's a good point.
True.
Hey, I was gonna say, what about a Metroid game? It was like, but they did.
Yeah.
That'll be for the next part.
Okay, Dylan?
And then the last one was Horizon Zero Dawn, and that game came out like 2 or 3 weeks after I bought my PlayStation, and it was one of those games where I saw gameplay for it, and it was interesting, and it caught my attention, and it just wasn't quite enough to make me buy it. It was enough to make me watch it and be interested in it, but it didn't make me hit the gas pedal to go buy it. And but now that they continually have added more DLC that made the game even better, it's one of those games I kind of regret not buying now.
Yeah. You see, I don't know why. I've tried watching videos of Horizon Zero Dawn. I've heard people talk about how much they love it. I just can't get into it, and I don't know why, because it's the type of game that's right up my alley, kind of that fantasy mixed with tech kind of a thing. Like normally,
plus it's like an open world adventure game.
And normally those are the kind of games where I'm like instant buy, but for some reason, that game I'm like, meh. I don't know why. Anyway, Luke.
So this is kind of awkward because you basically said everything else I was gonna say.
Okay, we'll just tag on.
Well, actually, besides one, which was the Crash Insane trilogy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mainly because I have never played the Crash games, and I'd really love to try playing it in the remastered format.
Once we get to the next section, I will be talking about that game.
Oh, so Revenge.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yes,
I'm actually looking up the price right now. Cause
it's $40.
It's 40?
Yeah. It's 40. No, it's probably even cheaper now. If brand new, it was 40.
Okay,
for guys. For three games.
Yeah, viewers, you are my witness. Luke, if using company money, I bought that game, would you do videos in it?
Fuck yeah, I would do that.
Because I have seen so many videos from the Crash Insane trilogy. I like Crash Bandicoot as it is.
Yeah.
In games, I think actually. I played Bandicoot, or not Bandicoot, what is it? Banjo-Kazooie first, but then when I was younger, then I played Crash, but the remastered, it's weird because there are difficulties like reverse. One is the hardest of the three, and 3 is a cakewalk, so we might play it reverse on the channel.
I'd be down with that.
But I've seen someone perfect that game, and goddamn, it was frustrating. But I would love that to be a thing on this channel.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So could we use that to transition into best games of 2017, and I could talk about it really quick?
Absolutely, yeah.
Since that's the next section anyway. I mean, it wasn't the first game I was going to talk about, and none of my best games are in order, obviously. But so Crash was like, as far as I can remember, it was like one of the first video games I ever played on the PlayStation 2. So a couple PlayStations ago, and it was just like when I heard the announcement that they were making it, it brought me back to my childhood a lot. Like and I mean, there was times like when I had PlayStation 3, I went back to my PlayStation 2 just to play Crash, and it was just like I got it, and I mean I still have a lot to do on it. It's like one of those games where like you don't feel necessarily obligated to beat it right away. It's just one of those games where it's nice to just have and just sit down and play with, and in especially the first one, like you were saying, it does make you rage. There's a lot of rage, and because like you could be just like that other game, you could be one jump from the end of the level perfecting it and fall down and be out of lives. So it was a good game. I like it. The graphics for it are amazing, and it was really well done. because it's literally a remaster. It's literally if you have the game side by side, the original, and it's literally the same thing.
Yeah, pros and cons.
It's the past, but with a new shine of color.
But I don't even care that it's because I never had a PlayStation 1, so I never got to play the original ones.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to.
Well, and the thing that really did it for me was because I remember Uncharted 4, which was a 2016 game, but God, that was such a good game.
Yeah,
there was a section that had the Drakes playing Crash Bandicoot, and I was watching that going, oh yeah, they made Crash. I wonder if they'll ever make another Crash game. Then here we are with another Crash game. So when are we getting Spyro?
Oh,
no, that's it's in the
Have they confirmed it?
It's secretly in the mix. It can't.
Wait, that's really? What I've kind of heard. Yeah, because
so
Spyro is one of my
Spyro
games.
Now
that's one of the other ones. It will be purchased.
Okay, so that is one I would actually be like, if I had a PS4. Then it's just like
I don't know.
Now
I don't know if it's because I can't really put it on my anticipated because I don't know when the release date is. But if it does come out this year, my wallet will be open and they will be taking all of my money. Or they will be taking my money. But, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So best games of 2017.
Yeah.
The intro.
Okay. Luke, do you just want to take this and then we'll just go in a circle from there?
Yeah, because I have nothing.
Because otherwise the order's going to be
he has nothing.
I have nothing.
Well, hello, Dylan. Okay.
I have 3 more games, though.
Yeah, so for me, and this is before... actually, I won't count this game, because I'll talk about it in a live stream soon. So next on my list is... okay, I'm going to go down to 3. I'm going to take my last 2 off, because I haven't finished one of them, so something near the end could ruin it for me and go, well, that's not a best game.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Number 5 is a game that my brother and I bond over, but I haven't live streamed it yet, so I'm going to save it till then. So number 2 for me, I guess. Wow, my list just shrank drastically.
Fine, I got one.
Well, actually, I did remember something, but only played it for like 20 minutes on the live stream. Outlast 2.
Okay, well there you go.
It was a very fun, scary experience, and I thought it had some very nice graphics. I did have some trouble trying to understand like where I was supposed to go, but that was more just because I'm bad at video games in general. But you know what? It was fun for about the hour, I guess, that we played it for.
About an hour.
Yeah. It was fun.
Okay. So next on my list that just literally cut itself in half. Oh no, yeah, that cut itself in half is Prey. So the trailer for Prey came out at E3, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games that's like coming in a couple months. Like what? Whoa! Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's like next week.
And I remember because it was with the Arizona tour going on. When it came out was literally the first day of the Arizona tour. And a Bridger from the vlogs, if you guys know him, this was a game that like he was excited for that year. Like that was his game.
Yeah.
So he pre-ordered it and literally bought it in the middle of the Arizona tour. Like we got in the van and went to a GameStop and he picked up the game.
In the middle of the Arizona tour.
We never showed us on camera. We had like 3 to 4 Xboxes on the Arizona tour. So we were gaming nonstop in the hotel room. But that wasn't anything worth vlogging. And I'm gonna move my cursor away from the X on OBS. Oops. But anyway, yeah. So he played it first, and I was there watching him, and it was a really cool game to watch. And then I played it a little, and then I've seen the walkthrough, and I've played it a bit more myself since then. And it's a great game.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those kind of games that came out when I was younger, where it's not about like, let me hop on multiplayer today and 360 no scope some noobs. It's a story driven game. Like, the campaign of the game is the game, which I miss those kind of games.
Yeah. It seems like because not everyone can be able to do those types of like online campaign stuff, anyways. And
it felt very Fallout-esque, like that older school Fallout type of game, which I thought was really cool.
Some of the kind of like story aspects sort of remind me of Bioshock, also.
Yeah, it is very Bioshock-y. It is. But I thought Prey was very well done. And I just think it deserves to be known as a game that, because I don't know too many people who have it, but I think it's one of those games that I wish did better.
Yeah, like had a bigger like reception.
Yeah. Okay, Dylan, do you have any more?
I have 3 still.
Oh yeah, I forgot. My list cut in half, so I'm like near the end already.
Okay, so the first one, which there's a lot of controversy about, is Call of Duty World War II.
Okay.
I mean, I could talk about it for a long time, and I sort of talked to Nick about it, and he showed me a video that I agreed with, which was talking about one of the biggest problems with the game. And granted, it had a terrible launch where it wasn't even playable opening night, because I did pre-order and I picked it up opening night. It wasn't even playable. It wasn't playable till the following morning. And despite that, with Call of Duty deciding to go back to its roots, which is what I needed to be able to go back to another Call of Duty, because Black Ops 3 I didn't really like because it went techie.
Yeah.
So it went back to its roots, and I'd say that over that and just the pros of the game outweigh the issues that it had and sort of still continues to have. But
yeah, I think it was the best step for Activision to do for a Call of Duty game. I thought it was great in that regard of them turning back to their roots. My only problems was it come from they're suffering from like new game problems, like, hey guys, this is our first game, when they've made so many Call of Duties that I find that a little weird. But it is a game, the spoiler alert, we will be playing on this channel, so don't worry about that, it is coming
one day.
So get excited for that. Anyway, next on my list for best games of the year is Injustice 2. Now, as a huge fan of the first Injustice, this sequel was a fantastic sequel. I still have some more of the campaign to do, but I was loving the multiplayer. They're putting DLC faster than I can keep up with. Like,
yeah, there's another one dropping in 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. There's so much DLC for it that you can always come back to that game and be good with. It's a fighting game, and it's so well done. And as a comic book fan and a DC fan, I absolutely love that game, and I know I'll be playing it for years to come.
Yeah. I played a little bit with you guys when we were doing the charity live stream, yeah, and that was actually pretty fun, even though it was a shitty edit, which is a theme.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those games you gotta learn.
Yeah, you gotta get good.
Like kind of that For Honor thing of figuring out your characters and figuring out your combos for said characters.
Yeah, like your strengths.
Yeah, Dylan?
Alright, the next one is Assassin's Creed Origins, and I could talk about this one forever too, and the combat is phenomenal, the graphics are phenomenal, everything is absolutely phenomenal about this game, and
that's one of the ones that it really should have been on my wish list. The only reason I didn't really consider it, well, I considered it, but one of the main reasons I didn't purchase it is because I don't think I have the time for it. But as a game, it's bringing Assassin's Creed kind of back to their roots again, kind of common theme this year with gaming, but
it's one of the best Assassin's Creed.
Yes, I 100% agree.
I mean, I liked a lot of the earlier ones, but with the graphics and everything, it's up there.
Yeah, and I love the combat system so much. Like, Assassin's Creed games from now on should have that combat system, because
No, if they go away from it, then that's a mistake.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that game is definitely one that I probably should have had on my wish list, but in all honesty, I forgot about that. Okay. So next, for my best game of the year, and this a lot of people are going to disagree with, but I've put so many hours into this game, and to be honest, I don't know why, but I love it so much, and that is Destiny 2. I was literally wearing a Destiny 2 shirt yesterday.
Really? Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did not buy the first game, but I did do some videos in that game that you can find on the new gen. It's somewhere on YouTube. I don't know what channel it's on. That was back when I was running and managing like 4 or 5 different channels. So I don't remember what channel it was on. But me and Ro did a Destiny 2 walkthrough, went through like half of that game.
In the first one?
Destiny 1 walkthrough, went through like half of that first game. And I was like, wow, this game's really cool. But then at one point, watching people play it, I was like, oh, there's just an absurd amount of grinding and for not a huge reward. Like, the game was very paper thin.
Yeah.
Because you could tell most of their time and energy went into making it so, like, customizable with your guns and your look and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to give it that flavor, but not enough,
meat.
Yeah. like a really delicious appetizer. Just like
Yeah.
doesn't even like you could put it in your hand and that's your entire course.
Yeah.
But delicious. That was basically what the first Destiny was. Year one, and it definitely had a lot of flaws and bugs in it. So that was the main reason I didn't buy it. But then they started putting out all these amazing DLCs like Taken King and Wrath of Iron. And every time one of those came out, I was like, this is a whole new game. I should have bought it for the DLCs because that's amazing.
Yeah.
But by the time that happened, I'd be so far behind it wouldn't make a difference. So I was like, you know what? Maybe next time around. And then, well, Lord and behold, we got Destiny 2, and the trailer looked awesome. There was actually a story to it for once.
Yeah, like an actual campaign going on.
And it was one of those games I held out on pre-ordering literally until the day before it came out. That was when I pre-ordered it, which shouldn't count as a pre-order in my opinion. But yeah, in that game, ooh, I've put stupid amounts of hours into it. Like I played it for 10 hours straight week one.
Yeah.
And that became like, it went quickly into becoming like the game I played.
Yeah.
And I'm still playing it to this day, and I just absolutely love it.
I can attest to this because I've been editing some of the stuff he's been doing.
Yeah, and we still have to do a live stream of the raid, so that will be coming soon. I'm just trying to get my level up as high as I can before going into it, but
Get high, boy.
yeah, I'm excited.
Hella high.
I love that game so much. I can't wait for the DLC to come out with it, but I think Destiny 2 is my game of the year. So Dylan?
Well, I mean, I can't say a game of the year, but my last game on the best games of 2017 happens to be a free game.
Ooh.
And going back to my love for Battle Royale style games,
Okay.
I have to put Fortnite on there, the Battle Royale version, because I didn't pay for the actual game, but the playability out of it that I've put into a free game, the fact that a free game has made me put a total of like 80 hours into it, which is absolutely...
For a guy
I'm
who
ashamed.
works.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say it, but I've put about 80 hours into it, and it's just well done. And it's like, I know it's a rip off of a bunch of other games, and it's a rip off of a rip off of a rip off, and all of that. But despite that, it's a well done rip off.
Yeah.
And it's something different, and yeah.
And Brendan, if he were here, would attest to that. That's probably his game of the year, just from talking with him. So.
I probably wouldn't say it's my...
Or I mean, it's his one of his favorite games
like,
to come out of this year.
It's like it's my most played game of the year, but I don't necessarily know if it's... I don't think I could say a free game would be a best game. I think if I had to choose a best game, it would either be Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty. Because
yeah. So, moving into anticipated games of the year, but before I do that, let me read some chat stuff. So what is your favorite game, like, overall? And we can each answer this question. For me, this might be changing as I get kind of older, but I always attest to Minecraft just because of the intense playability.
Yeah.
I started playing that game like 7-ish years ago, maybe 7.5 years ago, and I still play it to this day. I feel like that has to say something about the game. Like,
yeah.
That it's a game that I'm constantly playing and keep going back to. And just all the variety of things you could do. Like, literally, we have a series about a sci-fi action movie in that game.
Yeah.
Like, how many games can you do that in?
That's a good point, actually.
So, I feel like that gives Minecraft some credibility there. Dylan, what do you think is the best game, like, ever?
Well, I mean, I think my favorite game... I'm basically going to have to go with my favorite game of all time. And it's... I mean, I'd probably just have to either... Going back to my childhood, I'd have to go back to Crash because...
Oh, really?
Just... The way it's something... Like, you don't find a lot of games like that anymore.
No, that's for sure.
And I mean, other than the remaster, you don't really have a lot of games like that. So, it's something unique, and it's my childhood basically. So
yeah. I don't have like. There's one game that I would probably call my favorite, but I sort of have just kind of like a list of like 6 games I'd say are my favorites. So I'll just like list them off. Favorites are probably Shadow of the Colossus, Metroid Prime, Ocarina of Time, Mario Galaxy, and probably before like all the shitty stuff with like hats and like upgrades happened, but TF2, because that was like what like there was like someone who said that like there's a point where that game sort of stopped becoming really all that much fun, mostly around the time when Overwatch came out.
Yeah.
And
makes a
yeah,
lot of sense.
so I guess it's pre-Overwatch TF2.
Okay.
But I played like actually 100 hours of that game.
So, going into the most anticipated games of 2018, since that is the year we're in now. Oh, wait, sorry, some more comments, then we'll get into that. Haven't been here since 21 episodes. Well, great to have you back.
Ooh.
That's been quite a while.
Yeah. Welcome back.
And Ian, hello, hi. And then, are you going to do another Transformers Age of Extinction and last night Minecraft roleplay, even though you already did that? Maybe. Watch the last episode of Winning Minecraft. I actually do talk about that. And I might repeat that another time, but I don't think I'll repeat that here. But going into most anticipated games of 2018, these are in no particular order by any of us, right?
Yeah, basically.
No, and we probably don't have a lot to say about them, but we can just briefly mention
But
them.
the first one I'm going to talk about, which is probably the one I'm most excited for, is Last of Us Part 2. Ooh, I'm a huge Last of Us fan.
Even though he has nothing to play it on.
Yeah. But I love the Last of Us games. And when Last of Us Part 2 was announced, that was the thing where I was like, okay, PlayStation, let me just look at buying a PS4. Still haven't bought one yet, but like,
one day.
It's really pulling me close. So, anyway, Dylan.
That's on my list as well. It's one of the I played the first one remastered for the PlayStation 4, so yeah, I'm excited for that. Then I'll go into Red Dead Redemption 2. The first game, for what it did when it came out, the first game was absolutely phenomenal, and like the second one was bound to happen. It was just a matter of waiting for it, and it was supposed to come out this year, and they pushed it back almost an entire year, so I'm hoping that they have some really big things planned for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have no doubts that one will probably be a good game.
Yeah.
Just by who's making it. Like, look at GTA. Yeah. All the updates coming out of that, and now that they have the
online too.
The technical abilities and funding, I think they can really make a kick-ass game out of Red Dead. But
and it's gonna be a multiplayer, like a more multiplayer base, which I'm looking forward to a lot too.
Yeah. I have two. First one, even though there hasn't really even been like gameplay footage, just from like the visual stuff, I'm super excited for Death Stranding. Mainly because like I haven't played like a whole lot of Hideo Kojima's games, but like I've seen so much like videos like on them, and sort of just like how detailed he makes every single game. And also just, I love the fact that he has, like, gotten this much money to make something, from what we've seen so far, that looks like it makes no fucking sense whatsoever, and is probably going to be the equivalent of, like, some weird artistic sort of thing, where they got, like, famous people to work on it, like Norman Reedus and J4U award nominee Guillermo del Toro. But, yeah, I'm really excited for it. I have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like, but I'm interested by like the visuals and atmosphere and what maybe the story will possibly become. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So next and potentially last on my list, because this one was hard because like we talk about so many gameplay trailers and all that I don't remember, but this is one that I'm definitely excited for, and I believe is coming out 2018, and that's Spider-Man PS4.
Yes,
it looks like the best Spider-Man game yet.
Yeah.
From everything they've shown, and I'm totally fine with them just keep pushing it back as long as we get a fantastic game.
Yeah, make it good.
And the footage that we have seen looks absolutely phenomenal.
God. The costume is my only real complaint I have.
Yeah,
but that might not necessarily be finally.
Yeah, and they could have customizable costumes. Or
and that's exactly.
So that doesn't even matter.
There's a lot of potential there, so.
Yeah.
But oh my God, PS4, come on! You're really pulling me towards your side. And Xbox, what are you doing with your life?
Nothing.
Catch up. Make some better exclusive titles.
Okay.
Alright, yep. Dylan, what do you got?
I got 2 more since we've already talked about the other ones. So, Far Cry 5.
Ooh.
Not much to say other than it looks really good from what I've seen, and it takes place in North America,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And the map is apparently ginormous, so we'll have to see what happens.
Well, it's America, right? So
yeah, but we'll have to see where it goes with it.
Yeah. Okay, so my last one, and this is another case of no gameplay footage and literally just a title, Metroid Prime 4, because it's fucking Metroid Prime 4. I've been waiting for this forever, and it's happening now. They've made another Metroid game that isn't like a crappy 3DS, like, it's Metroid, but it doesn't have Samus, and it's not the same gameplay style. But I don't know what it is, but I have trust considering what they've done with, like, Breath of the Wild and Mario, that it will be good.
But
like,
they've also made some mistakes. So.
they have.
But they're on a pretty good streak, like, at the moment.
Yeah, streak-wise, they're pretty decent.
Yeah.
Or are they due for a mess-up?
Yeah. But, like, I don't feel like Metroid Prime would be something that they would, like, mess up. There's, like, some things where it's like, yeah, I could understand why, like, less priority on that, but this is one thing is, like,
they want to make sure it's good.
there's a lot of people that would be very disappointed if it was bad.
Yeah. And Dylan, we'll go to you with this next one.
So, like, I guess I'm gonna put 2 games together since they're basically the same style game. So the first one is Days Gone, and then the other one is The Forest for the PlayStation, which it already is out on PC. So it's just like I like those like kind of open world survival feel games, and the Days Gone footage looks absolutely phenomenal.
Good. Yes.
So I'm just hoping that they transport that into the game and not just make it look good for the trailer.
What platform is that, by the way? Days Gone.
I'm pretty sure it's both Xbox and PlayStation.
Okay, cool.
But The Forest is only PlayStation.
Because otherwise, oh my god, PlayStation is like all I want in terms of games.
Yeah.
Like, I bought an Xbox for Halo, and now that Halo 5 wasn't great.
No, Days Gone is only PlayStation.
Bye. Sorry.
So guys, guess what console I'm getting in 2018?
Oh.
Goodbye to literally all of my money.
I can mention if you need to.
God. Oh my god. Xbox. What the hell? Oh my god, Xbox!
I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're like...
They're doing Halo 6. That's what they're doing. So if it's anything like Halo 5, god damn it.
Yep, so... PlayStation's killing it, and I'm gonna spend a lot of money on video games this year. And I might have to buy a Switch. Because
I might have to buy a PlayStation, apparently.
But I've almost gotten in the car like 5 times now to buy a Switch, but we'll see. Okay.
Let it all out, Nick.
What a note to end the gaming part of this podcast on. Whew.
Hey, it's just like 2017.
Nick is going broke 2018. That's what's happening.
So we're going to have to kind of fly through the movies.
Yeah, we'll probably go a little bit over if that's okay with you guys. Yeah. But we'll try and get through it as quickly as possible, starting with Wishlist or Worst? Worst. Thank you. Dylan, you know what's up with my podcast better than I do. Okay, so starting with the worst list, I'm going to get rid of this one because I was trying to see this movie before the podcast so I could make it count, but I didn't. So in fairness, I'm taking it off. So my current worst on here is the new Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tale.
Oh boy.
Because I love the first 3 Pirates, which most people say is the first one, but I actually liked 2. I thought was decent. It suffered from the same problem that kind of, the second Iron Man had of, we're setting up for a sequel.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of this movie.
It's a sequel.
And then World End should have been the end of the pirate movies.
But they didn't.
But it wasn't. And this movie really felt like it was trying too hard to go, no, we're like the first trilogy. I swear. Look, we got Barbossa back. We got Will back. We got everybody's coming back. They're all back. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And at some point, I didn't think this was possible. Jack Sparrow's lost his charm.
Yeah. He seems like, just sort of like, Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. It's like, in the first movie, thinking back to it, I imagine Jack Sparrow being the person who's like, he's drunk, but he's still more clever than you are.
Yeah, but he's still like a charismatic.
In
like,
this
fun.
movie, it's like he's drunk, and luck is giving him everything.
He's drunk and he's an asshole now.
Yeah, and it's literally everything that happens. Like, well, that was just luck.
Yeah.
That was luck too. God, what is with luck in this world? Like, the coincidences are off the chart, and it's like, you're trying to tell me he set that up? No, that was a coincidence.
Yes, no way.
So I feel they've just gotten lazy and have forgotten why Pirates is Pirates.
Yeah.
They thought it was the cast, but it's the writing.
Yeah.
You could have another Will character. You could have another Jack character. You can do all that other stuff. But if you aren't writing them how the fans knew them to be,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter.
Or if it doesn't feel consistent to their character and personality.
Yeah. You can't be a lazy writer, but cast the right people and hope it makes up.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Dylan?
I only have 2 movies on my list, and one of them is the Emoji Movie. And I mean, I only saw about 40 minutes of it or whatever, but it just
Counts.
nothing really.
Pause right here. Raise your hand if the Emoji Movie's on your list for worst. Thank you.
God
okay,
damn it.
So-
continue.
Yeah, so there's just. It's just. I know the target audience, and it's just. There was nothing. I don't really know if there's anything good about it. Like, that was hard for me.
That's. I wonder that every day.
And so, I mean, it's just bad, and they lost. I think they lost some money.
It was a studio who was trying to do a cash grab but didn't know what they were cash grabbing.
Yeah. And, like, cash grabs can be good because, like, Lego Movie is kind of a cash grab if you think about it. But, like,
It's a successful one.
they actually cared about the product and it wasn't just like it's emojis.
Basically, the Emoji Movie is like, wait, everyone's using emojis now? We have to make a movie on it. Like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is gonna make us a lot of money.
We have to make a movie about the emoji. What is the emoji?
Oh, by the way,
Emoji.
speaking of like,
Okay, we can make a movie about that, right? We'll have all the sponsorships. It will be great.
speaking of trying to cash in on like a trend, this T.J. Miller, one of the stars of the movie, said that this was the fastest produced animated film of all time. Yes. And it's like, I guess you caught on that trend.
Do you
as
know?
fast-
Do you know the production timeline
I think it was like 5 months or something like that for a CG.
for an animated movie?
I
What?
think I don't remember.
What?
I know, right? It shows.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about time frames for animated movies when we get to one of my anticipated movies.
Okay.
Because
Oh, I think I
Yeah,
know
right. Okay.
I think I know what that is. But yeah.
Luke, what you got?
Number 5. So Emoji Movie will be on there, but it's not number 5. Number 5 is Netflix's big foray into big budget filmmaking with Bright, from the director of Suicide Squad.
Yep,
but
David Ayer.
more like David asshole. But so it's okay. So let me break down the plot. It's Training Day, but with an orc instead of Ethan Hawke. And you know what's the funniest thing about that? The director wrote Training Day, so it's just Training Day again, except without like Denzel Washington, who gave like an interesting performance, and it's just Will Smith trying to be charismatic but not really at all. And it's just, it tries to be like so many things. It tries to be like this crime drama comedy thing. It also tries to have like, social commentary, but not really at all. It's just sort of like, don't judge people by the way they look, and it's like, oh yeah, because that's the issue. That the dialogue is awful. Like, one of the first lines in the movie is, well, today fairy lives don't matter, and I wanted to shoot my face in already, and it was like 5 minutes in. It was 5 minutes in.
That's a shame.
That it's badly lit, shot, all that sort of thing. Has a really this. I never thought I could say like a makeup work on a film felt obnoxious, but it did, and I don't know how that's possible. But yeah, it's really bad. The only redeeming quality is Joel Edgerton, who plays the orc kind of sidekick, because he's really fun basically all the time,
Okay.
even with horrible lines and face makeup.
Because I feel like the premise is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, I'd say.
It's like one of those things on paper, that's awesome. In
Yeah.
execution, that's where it falls
Let's
apart.
give it this concept to Max Landis.
Anyway, so next on my list, Oh, we are talking Emoji Movie. You guys might want to mute the stream for like the next 3 minutes. Because I'm sorry, and I'm saying this as a fan of the concept of the original source material, and that is Transformers: The Last Knight.
Oh boy, here we go.
So, and again, saying this as a Transformers fan, and someone who even liked the first and third one, I still stand by the fact that the first one, if it was not directed by Michael Bay, would be an amazing movie.
Yeah.
If you took out all the Bayisms in the crappy dialogue, sexual innuendos, that kind of stuff, it would be a great movie.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be really fun.
Yeah. And the third one, as a Transformers fan, who especially loves the source material, it's that one out of all of them is a love letter to the G1 series.
Yeah. Because
they're pulling out Shockwave, Soundwaves, these classic characters, a lot of these classic nods to the original.
Yeah.
And it's a decent story, and it's like the Star Wars prequels, the third one. On paper, they're amazing. They're brilliant. In execution, that's where there are some problems. So I feel like Michael Bay is the problem with the Transformer movies, but in no movie is that more apparent than The Last Knight.
Yeah.
You can crack Revenge of the Fallen as the writer's strike. It's what hurt it more than anything.
Oh yeah, that...
This movie, it doesn't have that convenience of an easy out. It's just a lazy movie for the sake of making money.
Yeah.
It has no heart. It has no continuity. And again, you guys need to know that the amount of work I put into Transcrafters is insane. I've seen the first Transformers movie maybe 50 times. Doing the season 2 of Transcrafters, I saw Revenge of the Fallen more times than I would have liked to.
In our lifetime.
Just working on it alone, at least 10 times, at least. Oh yeah, more than 10. But you guys, I break down every single Transformers movie so hard. And the disrespect that Michael Bay has for literally his own project with The Last Knight is absolutely heartbreaking.
And very apparent.
That he doesn't really care anymore.
It's just more of the money.
Which is the only reason I'm excited for the Bumblebee movie. I don't think it's needed, but it's a new director who's done promising work.
Yeah.
And in addition, the cast looks great.
Yeah, it's got some interesting people in there.
Yes.
New faces.
So, with Last Night, though, it is the worst installment of the Transformers franchise. And I just don't like it as a filmmaker as a whole.
Yeah.
As someone who makes films and is in the video world, I feel that movie is an insult to what I do.
Yeah. By the way, this film just barely missed the list for me as well. It was number 6 for me. Bright was just a bit more...
Yeah, and again, I love Transformers so much, which is why it hurts so much that I dislike this movie. Because again, I went to see it twice, just in case I got it wrong the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And while the second time showed me some more redeeming qualities, there's still so much wrong with it that I just feel that Michael Bay needs to stop.
Yeah.
He's not having fun anymore and sees it as a paycheck.
Yeah, basically.
Which
cynical kind of
only hurts himself in the end.
Pretty much, yeah.
Short term, no, it benefits him a hell of a lot. And I've studied what he's done, and he's freaking brilliant in terms of making Transformers profitable for him. But he just, in the long term, is going to bite him in the butt, and it's going to hurt audiences as a whole.
Something's got to give, since these movies won't be as popular at some point.
Yeah, but Dylan, what's next?
The last movie I have on there is 47 Meters Down. It was the last it was the only movie that actually went to the theater and saw that I kind of came out feeling that it wasn't really that good. Yeah. And I mean, there was good qualities about it, but out of every movie that I saw this year, which was a lot, that was the only movie where the redeeming qualities of it didn't outweigh the negatives of it. There's not much to say other than that.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing about it, is that there's not that much to say about it. It has an interesting concept, but an execution.
It has a predictable storyline.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
It could have used better marketing too, I feel.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Luke?
Alright, so my number 4, and this is only number 4, and this is a sign of the movies I've seen this year. The Emoji Movie is number 4. There's already enough said about it for the most part.
So go on to number 3.
Number 3 was Geostorm.
Oh, my next one. So I'll tag on right after you.
Yeah, Geostorm. So like, it could have at least just been like, all you had to do was just make it like a Roland Emmerich ripoff, but still have the fun enjoyment out of it. Because like, Roland Emmerich's a bad director, but I still have a lot of fun with his films. Like even freaking Independence Day 2, which was a god awful movie, but was
It
really
had
fun.
some fun.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. It was just
No.
like, it was like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like Gerald Butler just being kind of like just every Gerald Butler character he's always played. But it just was, I was sinking into my seat with absolute boredom for like a film that has like the most over-the-top concept ever, which is, we have missiles that stop storms and now they're being used to create massive like natural disasters all over the world.
That part wasn't even done well.
Yeah,
like you could make it a disaster movie. It wasn't a disaster movie though.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even really all that much. It was just like a generic sort of espionage thriller at points. And then other times it was kind of
well done one.
And then at other times it was just like, hey, it's like a low budget version of Gravity. Yeah. Considering this film actually had a bigger budget than Gravity, that's saying kind of a lot.
It could have been. I hate just about everything to do with that movie.
Yeah.
I could go off on so many tangents. Watch my movie review of it if you want my full in-depth. But the thing I hate the most about it, while it's not as I hate so much about it, is the fact that watching it, I felt like I've seen it before.
Basically, yeah.
It is like everything. It takes every cliche of an action movie that we get nowadays, and somehow makes that cliche more annoying.
Yeah, like even more just tired and done.
Yeah. And it just, again, another movie that, as a filmmaker, made me upset. It felt like I was being insulted.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that bugs me, but everything from acting to writing. I feel the best actress in that movie was the daughter.
Basically.
The 12-year-old child actress.
The 12-year-old, yeah.
Was the best, most endearing actress / character in the whole movie.
Pretty much.
It wasn't a disaster movie. If it was, it would probably have been better, but it was trying to be a mystery espionage type
The movie
thing.
itself was a disaster, so I mean, there's that.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing, I don't see really any redeeming qualities to it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, I despise that movie so much, and I'm trying to remember it, because I know most people who have seen it have gone, oh yeah, I did see that right now.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like lodged in the back of their memory. It's just like,
it's forgettable.
It's so forgettable. It's like the most generic disaster film possible.
Yeah, it's the most generic action-based film ever.
Yeah, yeah.
So, go continue. What is the rest of your list? Because that's all of mine.
Okay, number 2, and you might be surprised because this one was actually basically my number 1 at one point in time. The Dark Tower. It was weird because I've heard so much stuff about this being like kind of like not really like the story that Stephen King wrote, like something a bit more different. I was like, well, maybe it can still be interesting because I had no idea what the Dark Tower was going into this. And what I found was kind of like a Sci-Fi Channel film with slightly better color grading and visual effects. That was one that genuinely felt like it was kind of sucking the joy out of me. Like, it was the grayest looking, lifeless, like, least fun sort of thing. And even if it was going for a more, like, serious tone, it's just like, don't be so, like, butthurt, like, serious about it. It's just gotta be like, everybody talks in, like, a gravelly voice, and it's just like, my father, the prophecy, and this sort of thing. And then there's, like, Matthew McConaughey's character plays the villain who's, like, mostly serious, and then he does some, like, very, just, like, stupid things, like, meets up with, like, the character's parents at their home cooking food with an apron on. Is like, why are you doing it like that? Dude. Okay.
At least have a consistent tone.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, it didn't even feel like it was trying to be all that funny. It just sort of seemed like it was actually trying to take it seriously, which, like, okay. But yeah, just everything about it was just so half-hearted and depressing to just watch. And my number one, and I wouldn't think I would have ever put this at number one, because like there's some redeeming qualities, but this isn't a finished movie, like even slightly. And that is The Snowman, which was. It's kind of incredible that this film even came out, because like
most movies like that get scrapped before they ever would come out.
Yeah, it's basically, so it was a crime thriller that kind of went through a whole bunch of directors. They had the film with like 3 months available for a probably 2.5-hour film. Had to cut it down to at least like an hour and a half, I think. And the product that we got was one of the most poorly edited things I've ever seen, like, presented in a movie theater. And it's kind of funny, because that's saying a lot, considering it was edited by the person who's done, like, almost every single Martin Scorsese film. And, yeah, basically. And it has moments that are, like, unintentionally funny. Like, so there's a scene where Michael Fassbender's character is, like, investigating this house because of like a murder that took place, and he finds the owner's daughter in like a donkey mask, and he goes up to her and makes donkey noises, and I'm just like, why are you doing that? What do you? Then there's just like scenes that have no purpose. There's like complete like basic editing like techniques that are just like completely misunderstood, or just like they just probably didn't even have the footage.
Well, isn't that the thing that I think it was you who told me that there were pages of the script that they ran out of either time or money to shoot?
Yeah, like it was like 15 to 20% of the script they couldn't film.
That's insane.
Which,
could you imagine if, like, let's take Avengers Infinity War, if they came out and said, oh yeah, so we didn't shoot 20% of the script, but oh well.
That's like...
Or Star Wars, Episode 8.
Oh god,
said, yeah, the movie that's coming out in a week, we only shot 80% of that script. We didn't have time to do the rest of it.
Yeah, like imagine like you're reading.
If you don't have time to do it, then you push it back. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that.
I feel like because this was also like R-rated and they were going to release it in a bunch of theaters, like we don't really have the money or time to really make it a bigger budget. Yeah. So maybe they couldn't. I don't really know.
I'm guessing it's that they couldn't. They knew they wouldn't make the money back if they did, and they still didn't make money back.
They didn't at all, because like at least in America, it only made like $6 million, which for a $35 million budgeted film is pretty bad. But yeah, it's the worst because it really isn't even finished.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Okay, so moving on to wishlist films, right?
Yeah, I only have one.
I
have
2.
I filled it up to all 5. Yeah, well, because you guys, like, Luke, you see just about every movie that's ever come out this year. And Dylan, you're pretty close behind him. Whereas me, I have a good number of films that due to either YouTube or work-related stuff I didn't have time for. The first one, which I'm not all that disappointed about, because I was never, like, hugely on board like a lot of people, but I still would be curious about, is Atomic Blonde.
Ooh. Oh.
So... that's one of the movies that I didn't get on the bandwagon of it when the trailer dropped, but still is one that I'm like, yeah, if it's ever on TV, I'll definitely sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I'd say it was really, really good, so I'd recommend it if you ever catch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like John Wick, but has like a really cool visual style.
Yeah.
So, Dylan?
The only movie that I didn't see this year that I want to, and I probably still will, is The Last Jedi.
Oh, yes, that's a biggie.
That's a good one, yeah.
So, that's
pretty obvious.
Luke?
I mean, I saw every other movie this year pretty much, so...
Yeah. I've got 2. So, the first one is a movie called Molly's Game, and the reason I wanted to check that out was because it was written and directed by the guy who wrote films like The Social Network and did stuff like West Wing.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite screenwriters right now, and this was like his directional debut. The story itself didn't seem all that interesting, but I really love his work, so I would just watch it anyways. I still need to catch it, and I think it's actually already in wide release now, because the thing with like movies near the end of the year is like coming out in December 8th, and it's like in like 4 theaters in America, so not really.
La La Land got me with that one.
Yeah, that. And stuff like fucking Shape of Water was came out on the 8th of December, but I only could really get to see it on the 22nd.
Yeah.
It's like in select theaters, the release date's this, but the rest of the theaters, it's this.
Yeah,
And the rest of the theaters, fuck you. You'll find out when it gets there.
You're gonna have to wait around for spoilers, and then you get to see it.
Could you imagine
Basically.
if Star Wars was like that? Like,
Oh, Jesus
yeah, if you live in
Christ.
California, you get to see it 2 weeks early.
Basically, that's how it is for these films.
Anyway, Bumblebee, hello, nice to see ya.
Hello.
Anyway, so next on my list is downsizing.
Oh, I need to put. I should have put that on my list.
Yeah, that's one that I think it's one of those movies that I like the world of.
Yeah.
The story, I'm not as excited for as the idea, the concept of it.
Yeah, like the concept behind it.
And like I have that with a lot of movies, like
It would
Inside
be cool
Out.
to actually go, like
Right,
actually do
exactly.
that.
That's the thing. Like Inside Out is one of those things that they could have made a movie playground out of, and I would have liked just as much, if not more, than the actual movie.
Yeah.
What was that animal cop movie? What was it again?
Zootopia?
Zootopia. That's another movie that like I'd love to see the playground of it. Like when they showed the DMV scene.
Yeah.
Just make it a movie where there's one person going around to all the buildings, and I'd pay money for that.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be kind of a cool, like sort of theme park idea.
Yeah, like, and then you got, for me now, downsizing as a movie. Like, I just love the world that it's created.
Yeah.
The story I'm not as sold on, but I'll have to see it when I get there.
Yeah.
But like, I just love the world of it. That's what I want to see it for. The idea of, like, your real money in here. How much could you buy if you're like this tall? Like for a house, you buy a Barbie house. $20, you got a mansion.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that like feels amazing.
Yeah, that's like a cool way to. That'd be awesome, actually.
Okay, show of hands. Would you guys downsize yourself if that was a thing?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like,
Yeah.
I could, with the money I have, I'd have my own, like, everything. Production company, theme park.
Yeah,
Like,
the only thing is just like the size difference. That's really the only difference. Besides,
yeah,
like, money-wise.
and, like, bye, everybody. I'm living in my own world. You can join me if you want, but I will not miss this one. There are Logan Paul in my world?
Oh, what if Logan Paul downsized?
Somebody step on him.
Yeah.
Feed him to a fish. I don't know.
Basically, yeah.
Dylan, you already said
No, I did find one more.
What's another?
The other one was Darkest Hour.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the only reason, I mean, it seems like it has good potential, and it reminds me a lot of a Dunkirk-style movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So, it's one of those movies that I probably won't get around to seeing, but it would be kind of cool to see it.
Yeah, I remember hearing it was kind of like, for the people who both saw like Dunkirk and Darkest Hours, like this is kind of a good companion piece to Dunkirk.
Like, yeah, that it's like a good companion piece. That's what I get from the trailer, and I haven't even seen the movie, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's like the other side.
Yeah.
Basically. And the only other movie that I haven't seen this year that I really wanted to see, mainly because it hasn't even gotten like the wide release yet, it'll be on like the 12th, is The Post, the new Spielberg film.
I put that on my anticipated
Yeah.
because it came out this year technically.
Yeah.
I think it can go on either just because of stupid. Like, why don't movies just get a wide release right off the bat? Come on.
Because people don't have trust in some independent projects, I guess. But I'm excited for it because like it's Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, and Steven Spielberg.
That's the team right there.
That is the dream team. Yeah.
Yeah, movie dream team right there, baby. Okay, so am I taking it away from here?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next
one of the movies
on my wish list, we've briefly. Oh no, never mind. The next one on my list is Kingsman 2. That's one because I love the first Kingsman movie. And it makes sense because I saw the first Kingsman movie on DVD, so I'll be watching the second one on DVD. But like, I just love everything about the first Kingsman movie, so I'm really excited to watch the second one.
And the second one is better, so.
And it's one of those movies that I will be watching for sure. There's no doubt. It's like it's on my wish list because I didn't see it the year it came out, but I will be seeing it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Next on my list, a lot of people are going to get mad at me for. Luke, you might be one of them. John Wick 2. I still have yet to see. So, and if I do that, I'd probably sit down and marathon the first one and the second one because I've only seen the first one in like parts, I think.
Like
not
moments.
beginning to end type thing.
Yeah.
So, John Wick 2 is one of those movies that's like, wow, I want to see that. Oh, wait, it's not in theaters anymore? Oops. Whoops, my bad. I do that a lot, by the way. That's probably my biggest problem.
Thing.
So, and then number 1. These aren't really in an order, but this one probably is my number 1. Wishlist movie that I wish I got around to seeing but didn't is Shape of Water.
Oh boy, that's a good one.
I don't know if it's a short film that was based on it, but it's a short film that's extremely similar to it that came out about a year ago or later. I think it must have been a while ago. It's basically the same exact premise, execution, idea, everything that was brilliantly done. And everything about Shape of Water that I've seen and heard is amazing. So I definitely want to see that. And as soon as I get a chance to, I probably will.
Yeah.
Now, are we ready to move on to the anticipated best movies of 2017 list?
The best movies?
Yeah, the best movies.
So
Sweet.
I
The
think
best movies!
I think what I might do is, because I mean I could talk about these movies all day, so I think I might just kind of briefly list off.
Why don't we
ones I
give
have.
ourselves a timer? So if one person has it, that's like 3 minutes. If 2 people have it, that's like 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't really want to go and like talk about them because I want like some of them are more recent, so I don't really want to ruin them.
That's true.
So
if they're
for
more
me-
recent, we won't talk about it much.
So for me, I think I'll just list them, and then if someone says something and I want to say something, then I will.
Okay. So I'll start, and mine are in an order, but my number 5, I have like some that didn't make the top 5, like my 6 and my 7 that really could be in my top 5. But my number 5 is Disaster Artist. Because I thought that was, to take something as horrible as The Room, yet make something as beautiful as Disaster Artist, was great. And I think James Franco killed it both acting and directing. And it made me really curious about Tommy Wiseau as a person. Like, after seeing that movie, I spent the next, like, week just watching everything that talked about Tommy Wiseau, because he's such a mysterious dude.
Yeah, like there's
And,
stuff
like,
we don't know.
All the behind the scenes of Disaster Artist are great. Watching them do, like, how they mimic The Room with so much passion. And I love, and it's kind of what makes The Room, like, the redeeming factor of The Room, is there's so much passion that was put into it. And I think with Disaster Artist, they kept that. That movie has so much passion in it. And you can tell everyone on board wants to be there and is trying to make it good.
Yeah, like they're also passionate about the project. It is.
Yes. So that's why that's my number 5. Dylan?
So mine I couldn't put in any order because one, I've seen so many movies, and so it was hard for me to put them in order. So, and obviously I didn't list all of the movies I would put on the list because I could probably make a top 25 list and I'd still have to leave things off. But not in any particular order. I have Jumanji, Spider-Man Homecoming, Wonder Woman, Thor, Dunkirk, Logan. Logan was 2016.
Yeah, it was 2017.
It was?
March 2017.
Okay. Logan, Baby Driver, Justice League, Kingsman, and Valerian. And that's not all of that. That's not even all of them because I enjoyed 99% of the movies I went to see because all of them had way more pros than cons, and that's what I look for in a movie because, like I said, with 47 Meters Down, that was the only movie I paid to see that there was more cons than pros. So those are my movies, and if one of you say it, then and I want to say something else.
Yeah. Okay. Luke?
Alright, so I have a list. I don't know how much I should really say about them considering of the film awards that we have going on.
Yeah, keep yours brief. I'll be the only one who will go like, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
I'll talk about a couple of them. It won't be in any order, so it won't really give a hint into, like, which ones are going to
Got it.
possibly win the awards or whatever.
Straw, pull one out for us.
Yeah, one of them, Get Out. I really loved Get Out quite a bit, because it was, for one, it was kind of a horror movie that did a horror that wasn't just sort of the jump scary type, but more it was, like, genuinely, like, terrifying concepts, like, just, like, I won't really say, like, what they are, but, like, in the film, rewatching the film really gives it more meaning as you see it, because there's one scene in particular that, like, the more I thought about it, was like, man, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and that's one of those movies that's, like, barely missed number 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good horror film, and also I was really surprised because I knew who Jordan Peele was before going in because I fucking love Key and Peele.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Key and Peele.
Yeah,
And wouldn't think he could make a film that's beautiful as this.
Genuinely well crafted as his debut film as well.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that and also Daniel Kaluuya, I think that's how you say it, does just like an absolutely amazing job in that film.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Okay. Well, next on my list, he's my favorite director who made this. It's Dunkirk. I just...
Yeah, boy.
It's very beautifully done, and I don't consider it a movie. It's an experience more than anything. And I think that's why, if anyone has problems with it, it's because they're looking at it as a movie or so.
I've seen a lot of people say that. It's like, this movie is bad because the characters are underwritten. It's like, that's the point.
And I think...
Because they're not characters.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked to you about it, but I had one small issue with that movie, and that was it. The rest of the movie was, like... The cinematography was absolutely beautiful, except for one shot, which, that's it, but the rest of the movie was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Luke, do you have anything to add on to that one?
Basically kind of feel the same way as you do. I also love just the way that, how some of the shots are also chosen. Like, it never feels as if it's just showing, like, the landscapes. It's always, like, from a perspective of a character.
And also the lighting was phenomenal.
I feel the best thing about that movie is the sound mixing.
Oh yeah, that too.
The sound is soft.
You get chills. I'm getting chills just thinking about it again.
I also really love the kind of really ambient score that has like at points, like when they're on the beach for the second time and they're just sort of like waiting for stuff to happen. It just has like this very like over like foreboding tone to it. And it's just like not as usual for Hans Zimmer, which is very like loud and bombastic. It has worked very, very well.
So what is your next movie, Luke?
Next movie, and again, this isn't actually like my top 5. It's sort of just like scrambled ones that I would have chosen. More just like ones I want to talk about because I feel like they have some interesting stuff. Shape of Water, since you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is... I've followed Guillermo del Toro's films for quite a while, and I like a lot of them. There was never one, though, that was like, gosh, I absolutely love the hell out of this. But this was probably the first one, because it was kind of like a modern fairy tale, almost, in every single possible way. Because it's like, modern in the way that it has like the fable aspects to it, but then it has sort of the more realistic stuff, like, added into it, more of the grit to it, but kind of it contrasts each other in a good way. All the performances are like really, really good and has probably some of the best production design of the year. And also, it was really funny that I heard that Del Toro was originally going to make a Bioshock movie before he did this, and I was like, and it shows, because that's kind of what it reminded me of very much.
Could you imagine, like...
Yeah.
That would be awesome, actually.
They probably would never make it, though, because it would cost too much money and would be, like, very...
That's the reason we still haven't gotten a Halo yet.
I could see that being more marketable, though. Like, Bioshock is more, like, kind of abstract.
It's a little bit more old school, too. Like, they're not doing, like... There's not a 2017 Bioshock, like, this is the Bioshock of the year, and then next year will be a Bioshock, and the year after will be a Bioshock. It's not one of those games.
Yeah.
Okay, well... Next on my movie list, what did I say last? Oh, this one. It's the end of the trilogy, and I think it was the perfect way to end the trilogy, and that's War for the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh, yeah.
Above anything else, I think the biggest problem with this movie is its name.
Yeah, because it wasn't...
really what gave audiences the wrong impression going into it, which I feel was a huge mistake. So if you get past the fact that this is not a war movie, it's a beautifully well-made movie and the perfect end of the trilogy.
Yeah.
I love Rise. Absolutely love Dawn. And I think this movie it puts the ribbon on the trilogy.
It's a perfect end.
The title was a mistake.
Yeah.
But if they had chosen a better title, I think this would be far better received and a fantastic entry into the trilogy.
Yeah.
Can I talk about one movie? Actually talk about it?
So,
I saw this movie like a couple days ago, and it's The Greatest Showman.
Ooh.
And I told Nick that it reminded me a lot of La La Land, basically, and the score was amazing, the story was amazing, just everything was phenomenal about it. The cast, that movie was the second best cast of the year for me.
Yeah. And the best is pretty clear. If you don't know, it's Jumanji, right?
Yeah, that's
that
the number one cast. You have Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Then you also, on the side, you have Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
So.
And even the high school version of all those characters,
yes.
I stand by it and say that those high school versions of those characters are just as good as the celebrities.
Yeah.
And in what movies do that happen?
Yeah, it's not common.
The nobodies are just as good as the A-listers.
And so going into The Greatest Showman, I didn't expect the cast to be one of my favorite parts about the movie, but the cast is it's such a varying cast.
Mm-hmm.
Where with Jumanji, it's my favorite cast of the year, and it is the best cast of the year in my opinion. You have people that are known for being for
it's
being
about
funny.
marketability. How easy it is to market for that
but
cast.
you know that they're gonna be funny, and you know what their reputation is. Whereas with The Greatest Showman, it's a mix of reputations.
Yeah.
Which I think was really well done on their part.
Yeah. All right. So again, no order here. I want to talk about a movie that's kind of interesting called The Lost City of Z. Not as many people saw this, but it was really cool. It was kind of a very old school sort of expedition adventure film through an Amazon jungle sort of journey, and it looks absolutely beautiful. If you're into production design and cinematography, that's one I would highly recommend. It is got so much green and yellow sort of hue to it. And I also really like Charlie Hunnam a lot. A lot. So that's a good thing too. And yeah, it's just really great. It's kind of slow in aspects, but I feel like it adds to the pacing of just this very long trek, and you can feel this sort of environment hanging over them as they're trying to journey through the jungle. But it's also just really lush and beautiful, and I'd highly recommend it for anyone who's into those kind of films.
Okay, good to know. So, the next one on my list, I absolutely love, 100% buying on DVD and will be watching over and over and over and over and over and over again, is Baby Driver. So then you can tag on here, but Baby Driver, going into it, I didn't really have many expectations. A lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Edgar Wright is gonna be amazing," and I was like, "It's gonna be a movie."
I was kind of feeling the same too, because I love Edgar Wright as well, but I saw the trailers I don't know, it looks like it could be fun.
Granted, I didn't go in with high expectations, but it shot me out of the water in the first minute.
Yeah, the first scene.
The first scene. Yeah. I was like, "Oh my God, this might be the best movie of the year for me."
Yeah.
Which is second, so.
Yeah, it's just the way everything's edited and just paced. It's just so rhythmic and perfect. The pacing is just.
And can we talk about the score?
Or more the soundtrack kind of choices.
It's a musical basically, which is the coolest thing. It's a musical, but it's not sung by anyone. Yeah. Everything other than that though makes it a musical.
Oh, well, because the music speaks for itself.
It's a character.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's actually a phrase for that. I think it's jukebox musical.
The character is almost like a narrator if you think about it.
Yeah, and I love that Baby doesn't say much.
Yeah.
Because it makes every word that he does say so much more impactful, and it makes you as the audience a lot more aware. It's not one of those movies that a lot of the action movies try to be, where it's shaking the keys in front of your eyes, and it's something you can have on in the background and not pay attention to.
Yeah, this has some intricate details into how everything's put together.
And it's so beautifully put together too, where you don't want to miss a frame of it.
Yeah, or a beat of the sound, because
exactly.
The sound just syncs up so well at some points. It's just
So, Luke, what are your notes on that? Otherwise, or Are you ready to move on?
It would have been perfect if Kevin Spacey wasn't in it. But yeah, it was just absolutely fun and great, and I love it a lot.
Mm-hmm. So what's your next movie?
Next movie. So how many spots do we have left now that?
I'm on my number one next.
Okay, so, alright, this isn't my number one, but I really want to talk about this because this has been, like, super fucking divisive as a film, but I think it's fantastic, and it's probably going to be on your list, too, so let's just wait. Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh, it's not on my list.
Oh, okay. But it might be my new favorite Star Wars film, actually, because, like, watching it again, it was one of the few times in a Star Wars film where it's like, I got so much more out of it on a second viewing that I didn't the first time. Like, there's genuine, like, themes and ideas that's, like, that's really cleverly integrated and, like, put in. And I also just love kind of some of the mixtures of the new digital and practical effects.
Yes.
And when I first watched it, I thought, like, the humor was kind of, like, but I watched it at one point that didn't have as much of an audience, and when it wasn't as just, like, everybody in the theater was like, haha, that's funny, I guess. This time around, it was more just, like, you know, it was just a chuckle, and it was, like, it wasn't trying to be, like, laugh-out-loud humor, it was more just, like, a tension release, and it kind of kept it going, actually, the more I thought about it, and even some moments, like, the casino, like, segment that people say is kind of bad, I kind of see some interesting aspects to it in terms of, like, the story that I don't think people give enough credit, but as a Star Wars movie, it was like, dang, I was super impressed, and it was funny because I didn't like it the first time around, but the second time around, I was, like, super into it. And yeah, it's not my favorite movie of the year, but it was just one I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and I'll talk about it more in a movie review soon. I know I'm slacking. That should have been one of the movie reviews I put out right away, but I have an insane amount of thoughts on that movie.
Yeah.
So I've just been waiting to try and make sure I don't record a review and then a week later go, well, that's not accurate. Like, I want to make sure it's truly talking about how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Because I did see it opening night. I went to the first screening I really possibly could for it. Bought my tickets way in advance. And I was with that audience who was like audience when you go see a play or a musical, that live audience kind of a thing. And that's definitely an experience, but like...
It can also be sort of distracting.
Yeah, and I've seen it twice since then. So I definitely think we'll be doing a review very soon on it. So stay tuned for that, where I'll go more in depth with my thoughts. But now on to my number one film of the year. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. And that is Logan. As a fan of superhero movies, this one was everything I wanted it to be and so much more. I could not give this movie enough praise. Everything from technical aspects to the acting to the writing. To the story.
Oh, yeah, especially the writing.
I hope it sticks, but I think this was a perfect sign off for Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
It really showed the impact that a superhero movie isn't just a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Like, you can add depth to it and make it a truly beautiful film as a whole, not just a comic book movie for comic book fans.
Yeah, it's more of kind of like a western almost, rather than like a comic book film, is it, in its tone and like execution.
Yeah.
And it would be a mistake to not have that be the end.
Yeah.
It would be an extreme mistake.
Yes. Just thinking about it now, kind of like what you were saying earlier, I'm just getting goosebumps. And
I know, right?
Like, I want to watch it right now. It's just so good, and it's probably second on my list, or at least in the top 5 of best superhero movies of all time for me. Yeah. I absolutely love it.
It is a really good one. It is, I'd say, yeah, like, it's probably, of like a superhero film, it has one of the best stories ever put into a superhero film. Like, kind of like deconstructs like the characters in a way that's like really
shows their imperfections.
It makes it it makes it way more personal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like super more like it feels shrunk down on like a scope level, and therefore makes it more personal in the character sense.
And thank goodness for making it an R film, so they wouldn't hold it back.
Yes.
I think Fox, that's their best decision they've made, is they are not holding back, because
Yeah.
I just can't imagine Deadpool or Logan being PG-13 movies.
Yeah. It's a good thing they came out when they did and not like after the Disney buyout, because we wouldn't know like how that would go out.
Yeah. So anyway, Luke, what you got to end us off for best movies?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we had two.
Yeah.
He did end it off, I think.
I mean, I know there's one that you want to talk about, right?
I do, but like again, like it's kind of it kind of would give away my.
So do you want to call it?
I could talk about one more movie.
Okay, talk about one more there.
One more movie I want to talk about is let me think. There's probably something I could talk about. We've already talked about Dunkirk. I guess I probably should talk about this also, but the Disaster Artists. I love the Disaster Artists. Since I also really somewhat unironically love The Room, and just like James Franco gives like a fantastic performance, and I also feel like people don't give enough credit to Dave Franco as well.
Dave Franco did it really good.
Yeah, probably the best performance he's given in the film, and I think it's really good at combining both like some genuine like heart and comedy at the same time. And yeah, it's just like it's also just super fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
And inspiring.
And playing this card one more time, as a filmmaker,
yeah,
I feel like I like it way more than a general audience is, because it's that thing of, oh yeah, that is funny as a film person, knowing like that he doesn't know what he's getting into.
Yeah, like the moment like we're just going to buy the cameras. It's like
and
digital film. It's like both.
And I feel bad about this, but the character I relate most to is Sandy, played by Seth Rogen. I relate to that so much, which is a horrible thing. But like that would be me.
I feel I think.
Anyway.
Also, Seth Rogen, even for like a small character, did a really good job.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good representation of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Their take on what he was doing before it came out.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to most anticipated movies of 2018.
Got rid of the list.
Boy, this out of all my lists, this is the one I really had to cut out a lot.
Well, for me, like I have obviously a long list, but there's 2 movies I want to talk about in particular, and then that's it.
You have a 10, right?
I have 9 on my list, but there's 2 I want to talk about specifically.
Okay,
and that's it.
Luke, how many do you have on anticipated?
I have like a pretty decent list, but I'm able to narrow it down to like the 5 though, so it's good.
Don't narrow it down, and I'll just do 5. Because he has 9, and I won't make you narrow it down.
Well, I just want to briefly mention all of them, and then just talk about the 2. That's it.
Okay. So I guess I'll start with my number 5, and that is Creed 2. I love the Rocky movies. I love the first Creed. And oh my god, am I ready for a second Creed movie. I am so excited, and Jordan B.
Yeah, Jordan B.
I everything about that movie. I'm excited for it, and I'm ready. My body's ready.
Is your heart ready?
Softball. I'm just so excited.
Is your heart ready though?
Probably more ready than Sylvester Stallone's by now.
Hey.
Anyway, Dylan.
I'd say that there's 3 actually, but so 1, I'm excited for every superhero movie that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
I have a lot of high expectations, which I shouldn't have.
New Mutants looks great.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't have the high expectations, but this is just 9 of the movies. So Infinity War, which is one of the movies I want to talk about. Black Panther, which is one of the other ones. Then you have Blockers, 12 Strong, The Post, The Incredibles 2, Night School, X-Men Dark Phoenix, and Aquaman. Okay, so Infinity War.
We'll save that for the end, because that's one of mine that we can talk about later.
Yeah, okay.
What's one of the other ones you want to
Black
talk about?
Panther.
Okay, Luke, do you have that on your list?
Yeah, I have that.
Okay, so wait for him, and then what's your other one?
The Incredibles 2. I mean, I could talk about another movie, I guess, but...
Save it for right now, then you just jump in when we do the other ones, I guess. Unless you want to talk about... You can talk about Incredibles 2, I guess.
I also have Incredibles 2 on here.
Yeah, so do I. So we'll jump into Incredibles 2 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Incredibles 2, this is that movie that I wanted to talk about time frames for animated movies.
Yeah.
The amount of detail that is being put into Incredibles 2 is absolutely phenomenal.
You can see the fibers of the shirt.
You can see the fibers on every person's shirt. It is phenomenal, and it's been a long time in the coming, and it's finally almost here, and I will buy my tickets as far out in advance as I can. I will be the first person in that theater because
my Fandango app is ready.
I have alerts set to remind me when tickets go on sale because it will be purchased right away.
I'm just so happy because the director Brad Bird, he did some live action work for a little bit, like the Mission Impossible films and Tomorrowland, but this is like his first animated film since like Ratatouille, and I was just like, oh, thank God, because he's made my favorite animated film, the Iron Giant. Yeah. What?
We are in safe hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I know, right? And he did the original Incredibles, and so Ratatouille.
Yeah.
And I'm just... Anything by Brad Bird, even if, like, people are like, I'll still be like, I'm gonna fucking watch that shit immediately.
Mark my words right now, next year when we're doing this, this movie, whether it's #1 movie of the year or
it'll
not,
be in the top 5.
It'll be the #1 animated movie of the year.
Yes.
I can definitely see that.
No, I'm saying that 100% without having to see, because I'm going to see other animated movies because I do have little brothers,
Yeah,
and it will be the #1 animated movie.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that kind of piqued my anticipation also was, for a while I was kind of like, on Pixar because I loved some of their like earlier stuff like Up and not. Like, that's not necessarily early, but, you know...
I get what you're saying.
They had kind of, like, a good peak, and then sort of for a good while, they sort of just was like,
Yeah.
And, like, for a while, it's like, I sort of felt like they would never get out of that rut, but then I saw Coco, which was fucking great, so now I'm just sort of like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for Incredibles 2 to be awesome.
Yeah, and for me, like, that is, like, the childhood superhero movie before...
Yeah.
The MCU, before DCEU, before any of those started, this was my superhero movie.
Basically, yeah.
This was the superhero movie, really, of my childhood.
It kind of is. It is.
Yeah.
Everything about it. I've been waiting so long for this. I remember after watching it, like, okay, so, like, in a couple years, we'll get the sequel, right? Like, they lumped it off at that perfect cliffhanger. We'll get to see The Undertaker go down. And that better be the start of the movie. I better see don't snub me of that. I better see The Undertaker go down in this movie.
I like to think if that is how it is, like, years later when people, like, do a marathon of both these movies, like, shit, man, like, the animation, like, upgraded pretty drastically.
Going off of that, technology has gone so far since the last movie came out that it's gonna look so much better.
It's gonna look incredible.
I remember, like, it was to the point where I remember playing the Incredibles 2 game.
Oh yeah, the
Incredibles 2 game, the Incredibles game, because it was a sequel. And like, well, I'm not getting a movie, so I guess I'm playing this to know what happens next. Like, it was to that level.
I remember that.
Because that game, The Undertaker was the villain.
Yeah, and like, shit, now I can know what actually happens after that.
Yeah, I don't have to go off a game telling me what the second movie's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I can have the actual movie.
Yeah, it's real. This is real life now.
Yeah, it feels like a dream that we're saying Incredibles 2. Yeah, we're gonna go see that soon.
Yeah, like, it's in a couple months. In a couple of months.
Okay, so
that's one I am super excited for,
though. Luke, what is your next movie to talk about?
Okay, so I won't talk about the ones that we all said that we have already had, right? So just sort of like, just kind of list off what I have.
I mean, you can say whatever you want, and we'll just jump on.
I think I'll probably do it for like a couple of them. A couple of ones I'm super excited for are Incredibles 2, Annihilation, the 3D animated Spider-Man movie, actually.
Spider-Verse,
yeah. Yeah, Annihilation, God Particle, which is that new Cloverfield film.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's coming out this year.
Because
they're keeping it super secret.
I love the Cloverfield movies.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. The Irishman, which is a Netflix-produced Martin Scorsese film.
Yep.
And Isle of Dogs, which is the new stop-motion Wes Anderson film, which I'm just like, yes, please.
This year. Ooh.
It's a good year for animation.
Yeah, really. Man.
Spider-Man, Incredibles, Isle of Dogs.
I mean, I'm down to talk about... do you mind talking about Spider-Verse? Because I'm a huge fan of the Spider-Verse in general.
I'm a big fan of Spider-Man.
Because Like, I love the idea of multiple Spider-Mans. Like, I'm not sure how familiar you are with all the different ones.
I know about, like, the... what's his name? Was it Miles...
Miles Morales is the African-American.
Yeah, that one. And there's, like, a couple of other ones, too.
There's Noir, who's cool.
Yeah.
Noir Spider-Man. There's Ultimate Spider-Man. My favorite is by far 2099. So if we get a 2099 Spider-Man movie, that's one of those movies. If we get a live-action 2099 Spider-Man movie, that's like, my tickets are gone. Like, I'm buying that. Because, that's so awesome. And it's a Hispanic Spider-Man, which is cool.
Sweet.
But 2099 is literally the Spider-Man of the year 2099.
Yeah.
So it's like future everything. So there's a future Green Goblin who's crazy. There's a future Doc Ock who's crazy. And like the Spider-Man suit is badass in 2099.
Yeah, yeah.
And everything about it. And it's cool, like, because like the Marvel universe that we know of is history to them.
Yeah.
So they're reading textbooks about Iron Man. Peter Parker is a legend. Like, it's so cool, that universe. So
yeah,
Miles Morales, I think he's a perfect character to dive into that Spider-Verse with, because he's still a kid and it'll bring audiences. I think Miles Morales is the perfect Spider-Man to show audiences there's more than just Peter Parker out there as a Spider-Man.
Yeah. Also, one of the other things that I'm actually really excited about for this is sort of what they can do with like an animated superhero film, because like one thing that I kind of always thought is like there's a lot of live action superhero films, but like superheroes were originally like, you know, drawn, and I was thinking you could get a lot out of like an animated superhero film. And
DC's the only group I know who's kicking ass with animated.
Yeah, that one. Whereas this one, it seems like they can really do something like really visually great.
Yeah.
And one issue I have with like some Marvel films is like the look of them is pretty dry and bland.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is like jumping into like a rainbow.
And like Guardians and dare I say Suicide Squad are the only like really stylistically different superhero movies. So I'd love to see more. And again, I think animation is a great way to do that. The art design I'm a little hesitant on. I'm not loving it per se, but I'm also not totally hating it.
Yeah.
But it's also not necessarily 100%. I know they showed it in the trailer, but it's not final either.
No, so it could totally win me over. That's for sure.
Also, the people who made Lego Movie are also working on it, which is sort of like
awesome.
Which is like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a long comment, so we'll read that now. Hey man, how are you? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I won't read that. Anyway, so next on the list for me is one that I probably won't see in theaters. They might convince me to. They being like myself, by the way.
Yeah, your own person.
Yeah, all the voices in my head, of course, but it's A Quiet Place. Yeah, well, that was one of the voices. A Quiet Place, because oh my god, that trailer is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
and it's the kind I want more horror movies like that.
Yeah, like that sort of style.
Yes, and I think sound design with that movie will be phenomenal. And I'm just so excited.
Even the trailer scared me.
Yes, because it's not the standard, like, if you look at, granted, Insidious, the trailers haven't, I've been okay with those trailers.
And we don't know what is out there. You don't get that.
No, exactly. But, like, a lot of the trailers are like, hey, watch this movie because, ooh, jump scare. Ooh, jump scare. And those are all the jump scares that the movie has.
Or the trailer shows you who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
And it just ruins it, where the trailer for this gives you no clue at what they're being quiet.
I absolutely love A Quiet Place, so I hope that movie's good, and I might convince myself to see it.
Well, I might have to too.
Yeah, so anyway.
With a blanket over my eyes.
See, okay, going into me watching horror movies, because you guys who watch the gaming know that I don't handle horror the best. But I can't do that in a movie theater, my horror reaction, so I have to do something else.
Yeah.
And instinctually, I don't choose to do this, but I watch horror movies with the John Cena approach. I'm doing this for 2 hours.
Oh, okay. So you could not see it, like, for like a split second.
So, like, that makes jump scares bearable for me. Because, like, jump scares are, like, maybe 15 frames. This makes it 7.
Yeah, like, it lessens the amount.
So, anyway. Dylan, is there another one that you want to talk about? We could probably dive into Black Panther, maybe.
Oh yeah, I want to dive into Black Panther before
Yeah.
we talk about Infinity War.
Yeah. Okay.
I do have one more movie I do recommend. I don't know if I really want to talk about it though, because I don't know how many people actually know about this director though. So it's sort of nah.
Okay. Black Panther. Let's talk about that.
So Black Panther, I'm really curious for this movie because I'm curious to see what effect it has on Infinity War, because we've talked about it and they could take it one of two ways, and I'm curious to see which way it goes. And it's that last setup movie before Infinity War, which we've had so many movies that are contributing to Infinity War that to finally be at the conclusion and finally be at Infinity War is a really exciting moment. And
Yeah.
Black Panther comes out a month from today, so
Well, yeah, it does. Huh?
I'm really excited to see it, and it's one of the movies I will see right away because
I'm excited for it because of some of the people that they got. Like, I'm excited because the director Ryan Coogler, I remember, is like started off with like small independent stuff, and now he's doing fucking Marvel stuff, and it's like he's come a long way, and I'm excited to see kind of like what he's able to do, like sort of like what he did with Creed, would just take some of the source material and do something very fresh and new with it.
Go ahead and take a little bit step forward to the mic just so you're a little closer, because I've noticed like we're all kind of leaning back a little bit more.
So Black Panther is my second anticipated movie of the year, obviously. So
and
I mean, I'm excited for all the superhero movies, but with Infinity War and Black Panther, they kind of take the lead in my anticipation. So
and for me personally, I've never been a huge Black Panther fan. And I've seen some of his stuff, but I've never like deep dived into Black Panther like I have a lot of other superheroes. And what I'm hoping for with this movie is that it's a self-contained superhero movie. I want it to contribute to Infinity Wars, but in very subtle ways. I don't want an Ant-Man. We're going to the Avengers base and fight Black Falcon, or not Black Falcon, Falcon. White Iron Man, White Captain America, Black Falcon.
God damn it.
Anyway.
It's
I don't want like one of those scenes in this movie. I want to be more self-contained and have like little nods, like that's an Infinity Gem, like the Easter egg contributions.
So you would be okay if that last one is revealed in.
Yeah, I want it to contribute to Infinity War, but not in a.
I feel that's
like really way. I want Easter egg.
I feel that's probably the best, like the most or the best way it could contribute to Infinity War.
Yeah, I think it would be a better way to contribute by telling us about Black Panther, not the MCU, but about Black Panther.
But telling us about Black Panther and then slipping in that Easter egg. Of at least the potential location for the last.
Yeah, or at least like maybe like something that happened in another movie, like oh yeah, Wakanda played a part of that without you knowing.
Yeah.
Like oh yeah, Wakanda, we helped with SHIELD founding or something. Like subtle things, like Easter egg things.
Yeah. Also.
Or like oh yeah, we look into space and there's this weird spaceship thing, but that's probably not a problem.
Yeah. Also, I like that Andy Serkis is in this.
I love Andy Serkis, and we got his character in Age of Ultron. It was more so the origin of his character, because he had the robot hand his character in the comics, and then he saw his arm get cut off in this one.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see Andy Serkis in a superhero movie.
Oh wait, yeah, he was in Age of Ultron. I completely forgot about that. Huh.
Because his character was supposed to be a nod to Black Panther, just way in advance. That was the only reason his character was in that movie. Was to say,
that's probably
Black
why
Panther villain.
That's probably why.
Wonder if we'll do that movie. Wink.
Wink. That's probably why I forgot him then, because he
wasn't done well.
But maybe he will be for this then.
Oh, he definitely will be. Even Michael B. Jordan's villain character, I think, will be awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. It's kind of funny. Michael B. Jordan started from being Ryan Coogler's like main man to now being the villain. Is like, oh, how the tables have turned.
Anyway, it's Luke. Do you have a movie to talk about? Or do you want to just jump to Infinity War and I'll read off mine and then we'll go to that?
I'll talk about one movie because I decided I guess I will talk about this. Probably my most anticipated film is a movie called The Modern Ocean, and it's weird because like it's from a director who's sort of like at the moment kind of obscure, but like he's made some of my favorite films like Primer and Upstream Color, and I'm really excited for this because this is his first time going to a film with like an actual budget. Like his other films didn't even break like $100,000, but he's made like some amazing stuff. But now he's got like a film with fucking like Keanu Reeves and Tom Holland and a bunch of other
awesome.
And a bunch of other people. And the only like thing I know about it is that it's like an instant to do with like a shipping in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But like he keeps his films super secretive, so I'm just like, it could be about anything.
Yeah.
It couldn't even really be about shipping, who knows. But I'm just super excited because he does some of the most interesting stuff at the moment with like films, and hasn't made a lot. He's only made like 2 films in the span of like almost 20 years.
Ooh, okay.
But
wow.
I'm excited though. I'm super hyped.
So looking at it, actually, I have one more to talk about, then we'll jump into Infinity War, and that is the Venom movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, Deadpool barely missed getting on this list.
Whoops.
And that's mainly because I'm still a little bummed about Tim Miller, and I'm a little behind in watching Deadpool trailer footage and behind-the-scenes stuff. So, anyway, but the Venom movie, because, oh my god, I never thought we would get a Venom spin-off movie, especially after the failure that was Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there was one lined up, but it looked like it got canceled, but then Disney started working with Sony, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, we can probably do it. We got Tom Holland in this universe. And Marvel's been very weird about this movie because it is a Sony movie that takes place in their Spider-Verse, but Tom Holland is their Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's one of those movies that's probably going to be as connected to the MCU as the Netflix shows.
Yeah.
So the Venom movie might make nods to Infinity War, but Infinity Wars will not make nods to Venom type of thing, relationship. But I am very curious about Tom Hardy playing Venom in a movie where Venom is the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely doable. Venom is... who Venom is up to the person in the symbiote. So I really hope that they redeem Venom in the same way that Deadpool redeemed Deadpool.
Yeah.
And also, I want to see Venom the symbiote versus the other symbiotes, because that's what it looks like this movie's about.
Yeah, like the clashing of those two.
Yes, because based off the very limited things we know, for those of you who don't know, I'll go into it. The Venom movie looks like, I forget the name of the group, but a government group, basically experimenting with symbiotes after it landed on Earth.
Yeah. And
they create about roughly, well, it's a comic book it's based off of. Like, in the comic, it's about 5 symbiotes that get loose and go crazy and are escaped. So then they create Venom.
Yeah.
Using an ex-military person. So it's going to be not so much the Eddie Brock Venom, is going to be more so the Agent Venom storyline, but with Eddie Brock's Venom.
Yeah, like being in there.
So they're going to ask Eddie Brock to have he and his Venom hunt down and kill, basically, the other Venoms. And it looks like, I think they've confirmed this, or it leaked, one of the two. Carnage is the main symbiote.
Yeah.
He's going to capture. So it's a movie that's Carnage versus Venom. Just sounds like a give me my ticket, I'll throw money at you situation.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm so excited. I don't think they're going to, because I think Tom Holland is very disconnected from this movie. So it's that thing of, he's Spider-Man in this universe, but you won't see Spider-Man situation. But if Tom Holland versus Tom Hardy ever was a thing, that's another I'm throwing money at you situation.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Yeah. Please, Marvel, just embrace Venom, because I think this movie might be another rated R superhero movie. Oh. I don't know for sure, but cool. I know that's what a lot of people are wanting, because could you imagine Venom versus Carnage in a rated R movie?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, that would be amazing.
That would be cool, actually.
So, Marvel, please embrace, if Sony's willing to let you have him in the MCU, because I know that there's this really, it's kind of been a meme now, interview where the head of Sony is saying that they want Venom to be a part of MCU, but it's actually Marvel who's kind of like, maybe, please, Marvel, embrace it, you can use Venom. and have Venom be a villain in one of the Spider-Man movies or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see more Venom in my life.
In my life.
But going into it, and Dylan, you can lead this discussion here, in Avengers Infinity War. How long have we waited? And how excited are we?
I'm pretty sure I saw a list, and there's like it's like 19 movies now that are gonna have played some role in. And what was that thing I sent you? Hold on.
Oh, Thanos' real name? Or
no, the
okay,
other
thank
thing.
God.
No.
Because we ain't talking about that.
We ain't talking about that.
But like, yeah, I mean, I remember the first Iron Man seeing that in the end credit scene is, guess what? We're doing Avengers, and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. There's no way they can top that. And the end of the first Avengers being, guess what? We're doing Thanos.
Yeah.
And we're almost 10 years since then, which is crazy.
It's been 30
and we're finally getting Thanos.
Like it's one of those movies where if they were to come out and say, guys, this movie is going to be 4 hours long,
I'd be like, okay.
Okay, yeah. Like, literally, my biggest... Like, I'm going in with super high expectations and all of this stuff. My biggest fear is that they're... Because they're obviously going to probably... I'm afraid that they're going to have, like, 5 hours of movie, like, uncut. But I'm afraid that they're... Because I know they're going to have to cut stuff out, and I'm just afraid I don't want them to cut out the wrong stuff.
I'm afraid that they have so many characters now that they won't give enough attention to them all.
Which is why I would rather the movie be longer.
Yes, I 100% agree. And Marvel, please know that. We, the fans, would rather go into an extremely long movie than have you cut out important details.
Like, they were originally going to make it like 2 parts. And that would have been a better way to go about it.
I think so. And
But I don't... I would rather one long movie.
Yeah.
I guess it sort of depends on like how they do execute it, because I guess it is possible. It's just sort of a very like
who knows?
line.
Who knows? It might be one of those things where we don't know going into it that it's a part 1, part 2 situation.
Yeah, and it kind of is. They've already said that. It's Thanos' story does not end at the end of this movie. Yeah. The Infinity Gauntlet story does not end.
Yeah.
It's basically more so a setup for Marvel's next step, which is the cosmic universe. More movies are going to be going into space and being Guardians connected.
Yeah.
So this is kind of that gap, and it's going to set up basically the second half of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This half has been very grounded. It has characters like Cap and all that. And the next movie the next half will be with characters like Ms. Marvel, Adam Warlock. And they're going to be taking more risks, which I'm excited for. And they're going to be hopefully big batting, they are big batting the Skrull, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And hopefully Galactus. Like these space villains I really am excited for.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good transition there. But it's also something that needs to pay off because we've been waiting so long.
But yeah, it needs to be good because I want this movie to be in the discussion for best movie of the year because I want it to be the best superhero movie.
Yes, that is what I'm hoping it is.
Yeah, it has to be because of the anticipation for it. People are gonna buy the tickets, and it's gonna be probably the best-selling movie of the year, regardless. But it doesn't pay off if it's not good. They're gonna make the money.
Yeah, just
there needs to be ratings out there that prove that they deserve the money.
Fan ratings that prove
that they need to earn the money rather than just get it because of the movie.
Yes, I agree.
Like brand recognition. I'm kind of worried because like it's like there's so many characters. It's gonna be like a massive juggling act, and there's just like also characters that seem like characters that have like kind of like the movies in which they inhabit sort of have like super different tones than like other characters, like Guardians going into like Captain America sort of thing. I'm sort of like, how is that going to transition? Like, how will that?
My thinking is with that is that it's definitely possible, but they are going to be doing something that hasn't really been done before.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is kind of in film terms, a groundbreaking thing. Like, having this many setups to a movie, like that's awesome. And I really hope it's really going to be a telling thing how this movie does.
Yeah.
In terms of how good it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've had plenty of time to work on this movie,
Mm-hmm.
so there's no excuses there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not in the same boat DC's in. It's like, don't worry, guys, we're trying, we're making it up as we go because we're still
crunching
getting
it up.
started.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Do it.
We gotta get this movie out this year.
Yeah,
They've
like,
been kind
they
of
have-
thinking over it a bit.
They're now in year 11 of setting this up.
Yeah.
Well, like they've had all this set up, and they've been able to design the other movies around how they want.
Yes.
This is their finishing point
Yeah.
for this half, and they've been able to make the other movies hopefully lead to
Yeah.
actually lead good amount to where they
Mhm.
wanted to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of just kind of wondering, like, going after this point, this is somewhat of like a feels sort of climactic for the series, but it's going to go on after that point.
Mhm.
I'm assuming.
No,
Yes.
it's gonna go on.
with the cosmic Marvel universe.
Yeah, I'm just sort of wondering, like, how long they'll be able to continue this sort of series, though.
It's like
Much longer now that they have these deals with Sony and Fox.
it's
guess.
the end. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the way to look at this.
Yeah.
Which can be really exciting as long as the ending is good.
yeah,
yes.
it's
That's
gotta be
what I want.
either,
It's like the final chapter in a book series.
yeah. And it's like then they make like a new sort of like portion.
Yeah, this is the Deathly Hollows of the Harry Potters.
Yeah. Let's just hope we don't get a cursed child.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, I feel that that's a pretty good note to end the first podcast of the year, first podcast of this season.
yeah.
And, yeah, welcome back to the
Welcome
J4U podcast. The next podcast will be missing up. Wow. We'll be catching up with all the news that we've missed in terms of movies, gaming, and yes, kind of more so the world news with everything going on with YouTube currently.
Spoiler alert,
and
most everything in the world is kind of garbage.
Yeah, so
But not everything.
I'm excited to be back. I love this new setup that we have,
Yeah.
new style, and yeah, I'm just so freaking hyped for this.
Yeah.
So as I said, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with all your friends. And here's to 2018. Let it please be a good year.
Yep. And if not, burn it all.
Anyway, later guys.